Welcome into the Cam and Strick Podcast, episode number 183, brought to you by Hair Club, a hair club for men and women and lots of people, Cam. Anybody who's interested, honestly, it's for everybody.
Anybody, man, woman, whatever you want to be, hair club's for you. And my hair looks pretty good right now because I'm tan and I had sun, and it makes it look ultra thick.
I was going to tell you, dude, I expected you to be a little darker. You look pale to me.
Listen to me, homie. That sun down in Cabo, what I just came back from about 20 minutes ago, just landed, came back, got the pups, got the wine set up. Kate got me some food, got a bottle of water next to me, my shoes here, everything's kind of set up. I busted my ass for you guys to get home and do this thing so we could fucking take care of business. But
okay, hold on.
No, that's what I do. I don't waste fuck time. I got the puppies, I got back, and we're doing our shit, and that's just kind of what my thing. And I'm not late for shit, and I'm telling you to bust my ass home, I do it. We left at 12:30 Cabo time, which is just it's like it's mountain time. They don't have daylight savings time down there. But you're talking about the sun. Man, the sun down there, Andy, like I'm a fucking Nordic motherfucker, dude. I'm like Viking, and I like getting tan, but that sun really wears me out. Like if I was stuck in the cold and I had to survive, I think I'd be okay. But the heat and the sun, especially if I'm boozing and partying, and that sun's hitting you like, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, Kate and I are just like, we got to go take a nap. Like it fucks you up. But dude, we had a good time. I watched all the games. We're right there in this hacienda place, Andy, right in the big, huge bay where it's the only place you could swim in Cabo, because everywhere else, because this is where the California Strait, or whatever it's called, meets with the Pacific Ocean, and it becomes crazy.
That's why the waves there are so crazy, and you can't get in the ocean in Cabo.
Cannot, Andy, you can't not get in the ocean. You better watch your ass walking the beach, because the waves will come get you and suck you right out.
Oh, yeah. I was nervous, dude, with my kids on the beach. I'll be like, okay, like let's not get too close. Remember, I was telling you before, I thought about getting in the ocean water there in Cabo, because some people, like, I see kind of like, a little like daredevilish, whatever, who get up close to the water, But it's not for me, man. I don't play around with the ocean.
I don't fuck with the ocean. I'm a river guy. You want to get me in a river, I could figure my way out unless it's really, really flooded. But this was really cool. We're in that bay. You can walk to all these bars. My buddy who owns the building knows everybody down there. Although there's shady shit down there, Andy. I got these fucking guys coming up to me. I stick out like a sore thumb. You want that yayo? I go, no, I don't like fentanyl. I'm too scared to do that. And let me give you all y'all advice, all you party guys, man. You got to watch that shit down there. All these fucks come up to you nonstop. They'll act like they have things to sell, and they want that yayo. I'm like, And sometimes it's tempting because you're fucking drinking all goddamn day, and you might maybe not thinking right. Don't do it. It's dangerous, dude.
Cam, you can go, who doesn't know not to buy that like off the street in Mexico? In Cancun or Cabo, wherever. Well, like people listen. Like maybe the kids who are on spring break and shit. Maybe they do that. Most people probably don't need to be told.
Okay, thank you for that, sir. But no, we might be talking to guys that still do spring break stuff, dude. You don't know. Well, here's my point. You don't need to do that. And it's so weird. There's pharmacies everywhere. Pharmacia are everywhere. If you want to go get goddamn Adderall or whatever you want, you could walk in that fucking place and get Oxycontin, and it's $20, whatever it is. And there's like, here, what do you need? Blah, blah, blah. It's the craziest shit. And you could get in a jam down there. And we went to a place called Cabo Wabo, which the group I'm with, they know everybody down there. They've been going for years. So it's like, you're comfortable. You know, the kind of security and shit like that take care of you. But in Cabo, man, they'll really fuck you. Like, if you're doing anything weird, they keep an eye on you. And rightfully so, because I love Cabo. It's probably the best place to go in Mexico, one of them. But the fucking panhandlers, dude, they follow me around, Andy. They look at me, and then I'll be sitting in a bar with my friend, and they'll just like stare at you and like, you want? I'm like, get away from me, fentanyl boy.
I know, dude. You just gotta let them know. See that they don't usually mess with me, Cam.
Yeah.
Like I'll look at them and I'll say, no, like let's not do this, whatever, and then they don't mess with me. You were an easy target, I think. I don't know what
I'm always an easy target when it comes to that. They see it in my soul. It's probably the cartel with their little fucking puppets cruising around, and they like look for the fucking guys that are probably addicts, and they look at me and they're like, "Yeah, there's one," and But other than that, I love it down there. But that shit is like enough, and not to mention another thing, real weird. And I don't want to piss anybody off, but they all wore masks. They were the locals there were wearing masks on the fucking beach with nobody around, and I'm like, oh God, like it's so miserable for them, like walking with their children on the beach with like two masks. Like what?
Cam, I see some of my neighbors, very smart, very intelligent people, very successful. They very diverse neighborhood, as you know. They walk the neighborhood with mask on outside. So I don't know
what a cool neighborhood you live in. That ain't happening out here in the wealthy part of Franklin County. These guys out here, you might have a fucking whatever on your ACT, but they kind of figured it out by now. Sometimes you don't need to be as smart and just kind of like realize what's going on. Like, what's that doing for you outside? I'm sorry, what? Really break that down.
Did you see that lady try to sneak onto that basketball court in the NBA? Because can you break down what's going on there with that protest?
They've been doing this for a while now. They've been gluing them stupid asses. These people are the biggest fucking nut job weirdos in the world. And look, I'm an animal lover. Okay, one of them, I believe, was pissed because one of the players had like a chicken, and now there's bird flu, and they had to fucking kill him. Yeah, okay, so what? There's still a pecking order, no pun intended, when it comes to animals and shit. Now you look at fucking Shanghai, China, and they're grabbing all the animals out of the apartments and like killing them on the streets like absolute savage nutbags. No one's talking about that, by the way. But the chickens, like, I don't give a fuck about chickens, okay? Like, okay, bird flu, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So these psychos buy thousands and thousands of dollars worth of tickets. Why do they have a ticket that close to the fucking floor? I have no idea. They go out there like, I'm making a difference. Glue their ass to the fucking thing. The other chick tried to dress like a ref. She comes out there and they bulldoze her stupid ass, and they should have dragged her by her hair.
You think that was staged or something? Like, how did the security guard know to react that quick? I've never seen anything. That's like a defensive lineman cam. Like they know the snap count. You know what I mean? Like they jump right away. Okay, it's amazing.
No, it's not amazing.
How fast they did that.
Because because these security guards know that there's nut jobs doing this now. And they're finding ways to raise money to get tickets to prove their point of what? And they do stupid shit. So these guys have a head on a swivel, and they saw that stupid nutbag bitch be like, I'm going to make a difference. And she tries to jump out. It just caught the corner of his eye, and he tackled her. Like, that's why. They're on the ball.
They were a little aggressive with her. I thought they were a little aggressive.
I don't give a shit about that.
I mean, they were like dragging her around like she was
she went limp, Andy.
Oh, kind of like you. Did? Like a protester?
Yeah, just like Dave Portnoy did in the Super Bowl with his mustache.
Hey, how'd you handle the flying?
Oh man, Andy, I got a problem, and I'm talking to all you guys out there too. Like I always talk about having fun and da. I have panic attacks on flights now, and and we flew a beautiful private jet. Like I didn't pay for it; my buddies do it. Okay, so I'm not trying to act like it is what it is. But I get so weirded out. I have to drink a ton of booze. And even then I get sweaty. I feel like I'm going to pass out. I feel like I'm going to fall through. I have to close the windows because the windows on jets, those jets are huge, right? So you look over, I feel like you're kind of falling out. It's vertigo / panic attack / anxiety, all boiled up in one. And it's usually easier when I'm on vacation, when going down, I'm in a good mood. Coming back, I've been partying for fucking 6 days. Oh, and I get back, I'm so edged out, and everybody else is so quiet, and I can't. You know how I talk about coming off of painkillers, and it's the most horrific goddamn thing in the world, and you're so neck deep in them, and it's a flu times depression times a million. But I feel like when I go on a plane, it's kind of up there with that feeling, different kind of feeling, but how miserable I was. Now this lasts for an hour or two. And it's weird. It's all subliminal. When I look at flight count and where we're at, and if there's 30 minutes left, all of a sudden it'll go, boop, done. And I'll be like, oh, I can stand up now. I'm not sweating. Mm-hmm. It's all in my head. And I don't know if
I look at that thing too, man, to always know how many miles away you are, all that type of stuff. Yeah. But what if you didn't drink? I mean, have you thought about would that help, Cam?
It's worse when I'm sober.
On the plane?
Andy, it's worse when I'm sober.
Have you tried it? Have you tried that?
Yes, I have, dude. I've tried it before. I even you know what? Sometimes it happens to me when I drink too much coffee. Like after my morning show, the radio show where I'm crushing coffee all fucking. I gotta bring energy for, hosting it. When I'm driving to my parents' house on the highway, sometimes I'll get the same feeling, and I'm like, I'm dead sober, and it's like it's just the caffeine and my anxiety. I don't know.
Even when you're driving.
Yeah, Andy.
You know what I think you should try?
Go to a doctor.
Like hot yoga, maybe like a little like breathing exercises. No, in all seriousness, like breathing exercise, little yoga action, like would that help
what do I look like, homie? Andy, what do I look like? You think I'm going to do a fucking hot yoga class with a bunch of hot ass chicks, and I'm sitting there sweating my ass off, smelling like dog fuck with a boner? I ain't doing that.
You couldn't handle that?
Hell no. I don't do that shit. I'm on a fucking yuppie. Yeah, it's probably good for you, and I get that. I know a lot of guys do. I can't do that. I can't be around women. I think you
should try that. I think you should try that.
I think that has nothing to do with it. I think I need to go see a doctor or a psychiatrist and see what the fuck's going on. And I don't like to drug myself up on Xanax. I hate Xannies, dude. Horrible for you. I was going to take one today to go to the fucking pharmacia, by the way, and get one. But I decided not to because I knew I'd be so down when I fucking came on here with you.
The more I hear about this, Cam, the more I hear about this, can I give you a diagnosis of what I think it is? Like, I can probably give you one, in terms of what maybe is happening and why you have a fear of flying. That's what it is. You have a fear of flying, and I used to have it, Cam. I used to have it back in the day. Listen, I had it for a long time after I had an incident on a roller coaster. True story. In Vegas, Halloween roller coaster incident, very late at night. Should not have ever gone on there, and that impacted the flying after that. Yeah, but now it's kind of gone away, so it takes a little bit of time, and eventually, hopefully.
Can I tell you when it started? So I've always had fear of flying, and I get what you're saying. I like roller coasters. That doesn't bother me. I am afraid of heights big time. I'm afraid of a couple things, and heights are certainly one of them. I go cripple. Like I go numb. I can't. My legs buckle, and I can't do anything. Like if I'm on a mountaintop or so, I wouldn't be able to move. But I do it driving. It's something internally that's fucking me up, and it's scary. And my poor wife, she knows how fucked up I am on it, and she's like, "Now you got to take a Xanax or something." Which I can't go down that fucking path again. Not that I was addicted to that, but just like taking pills or anything like that. I just don't want to do it. And not to mention, I'm down. Like I'm not me when I'm on those. Like I'm like, I can't do that shit. So
you don't want to do that.
So it all started. I told you when I was on that yacht and I came back and Kate and I stayed up all night getting after it. And it just, I never had the feeling before. It happened 5 years ago, and it's never went away. But before the 5 years, flying with the Blues and the Devils and, in AAA going to Michigan.
No issues?
Yeah, well, turbulence got me. But now turbulence makes me stable. It's when we're just jetting at 42,000 feet, like smooth sailing. I can't look out the window. I feel like I'm falling.
Really?
Yeah, Andy.
It's
listen, more dynamic than
I got you. And I can only imagine, dude. That's a terrible experience. Flying is not easy. Honestly, I'd prefer to drive anyway.
Well, unfortunately, if you drive to Cabo, I wouldn't be back for another year. So just like there's certain things you have to.
Sometimes you have to do it. But listen, you got through it. I thought maybe that the flight to New York a few weeks ago would prepare you for this one. But I was happy you guys got out of town. You guys look very happy.
Yeah,
I give your social media like a C+. Kate probably gets a minus. You got a C+ on yours.
You can't brag that much.
Cam, were you at you're like in a theater? Like, was there like a magician on stage or something?
That was Cabo Wabo, homie. Dude, you're so out of the loop. People who listen, maybe not the Canadian boys. Actually, yeah, because Canadians go down to Cabo too.
A lot of Canadians are down there.
You're right. So they'll know. And we had the front there, and the house band was playing. Although the lead singer was kind of off, he wasn't into it, and I didn't like that. And then all the women started coming and dancing in front of me, and then Kate started dancing, and she was looking really good that night. And I was just like, I ain't dancing. Okay, you could grind on me, girl, and we'll watch me. I ain't dancing because
are you a dancer? Are you a dancer? On will you get up on the dance floor and dance?
No, I ain't doing it anymore. Like I used to do that shit.
Oh, you used to do it?
Well, Andy, let me explain. Because when you go clubbing all the time, when you're clubbing, you can't socialize with women via verbally. You have to do it dance wise.
Did you go clubbing in Cabo?
No, Hell no. No, we chilled. We have our buddies own bars down there. We sat on the fucking pier watching hockey, 5 different games on, and we're watching boats come by with a bunch of hot fucking chicks. Like, hi. We're like, hi. And then like, the girls will come back and join us, and we know the owner and stuff like that. It's so, the weather is so unbelievable, but the sun gets you. And it'll put you down. But once the sun goes down, it's like 72, windy.
Because it's not as humid there either.
It's so awesome. Andy,
on that side of Mexico.
Yeah. I wore sweatpants. You could wear a fucking sweatshirt and be okay. Or you could wear shorts. It's like, like whatever you want to do. It's so
Did you take
cool,
a boat out to the Arches like I told you?
Yeah, we did.
To the Arches. Good.
60-foot sun dancer. Badass boat.
I saw the sushi. The sushi looked pretty good.
It was really good. So we went to, because there's only certain places that you could anchor and swim. Mm-hmm. So we got out of the main cove and we went down like 5-6 miles up the California Strait there, and we found this little enclave, $1 million houses on these cliff sides, Andy, beautiful resorts, a lot of money down there. So we anchored down in this other little cove because, again, the water is so hardcore. If you get out a little bit, you can't even fucking do anything there. So you come in close. Other people are partying next to us. Everybody's so happy. I think we saw a bunch of rappers with a bunch of chicks with thongs, and I figured that they were rappers or something. Maybe football players, because the girls are kind of hot. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Why are you judging them like that? I mean, they could have been, medical people.
Like insurance
lawyers,
insurance. They're all partying, dude. I was watching. I was gonna go over there and party with them, to be honest with you. So I figured that they were fucking, I don't know. Maybe they were lawyers, Andy. Maybe you're right on that.
I think they might have been.
Yeah.
Did you were you watch? You said you were watching hockey. Like, what are you doing?
The whole time
going to like a local sports bar and like watching the games, or what?
I just told you, our buddies own these bars down there, right on the strip, right next to right where that huge harbor is, with all these badass boats, and people are coming in and out and shit like that. It's called Unusual Suspects. Cool little dive bar, but it's right there. You're comfortable in that mug. TVs everywhere. You just fucking watch the game, watch people walk by, watch the fucking freelancers try to give you wink to give yayo. You'll watch families with masks on. It was just like, Jesus, poor kids. So anyway.
Well, what's the COVID situation? What's the policy?
No one has COVID. We talking to doctor. No one's like, no. They probably want people to wear masks so other people from other countries feel it's better to wear it than not wear it, because I think no one's not going to go because they're wearing masks, but maybe people would freak out if they weren't. I don't know. Look, it makes absolutely no sense, but it's so fun. But they just look so miserable. And people are like, Cam, what do you care? I'm like, well, I don't know. Like a couple places we had to walk in. I'm like, you have to have a mask to sit down. Okay. And we were normal. But then I remember getting up one time and I'm like, oh, I got done, tipped the guy out. And I walk right to the door. I'm 2 feet from the door. And the guy stops me before I walk out and goes, can you put your mask on before you walk out? And you could take it off when you walk out. I go, you fucking weirdo. Anyway, but other than that, everything was cool.
You guys had a great time. I could tell. You needed it. You needed to get out there in the sun and get to the beach and whatever, have a little beach vacation. Everybody does. Yeah. Everybody needs to like get away from their like daily routine and just,
I've been grinding.
Get away.
I've been grinding pretty good. And I'm taking tomorrow off, so don't even tell anybody I'm home right now.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, I was going to tell you, don't do anything tomorrow. I don't want you going into work or anything.
I'm not.
So,
no, they already know that.
My biggest concern for you going to Mexico, like this, I was just hoping it wouldn't turn into like a Brittany Griner situation.
With a cocaine? I ain't fucking with that shit down there. You don't need to. Go to the pharmacy and pick out your whatever the fuck you want if you want it. Don't mess with that down there, man. You don't know who's watching. You don't know what's laced in that shit. I've done it before down there, and it was shit anyway.
Well, I'm just saying.
And you don't want weed down there.
It's another country.
You don't want that Mexican railroad track weed either. It doesn't do shit when you're used to the good stuff up here. So, but there's guys with vape pens and shit. However you want to get your mind right, you could do it.
I just want to, because I'm not there to translate for you either. In case, did I tell you that I speak a lot of Spanish? I don't know if I told you that before or not, but I do.
No, you didn't.
Well, yeah, because I went to school in Arizona, so like, there's so many Spanish-speaking people that I was around. You just kind of learn Spanish,
Say something. Say something.
Like right now?
No, tomorrow.
¿Cómo se dice en español?
Fuck off. Look, they all speak English down there. You don't need to learn fucking Spanish.
Hey, did you see? I don't want to like talk about the specific, like like whatever. It is what it is. Leah Hextall, because I don't like criticizing other broadcasters. Because listen, I'm not a perfect broadcaster. Like, I mean, people could, so it's not.
I get you.
Like, people are focusing on like the question. I don't give a shit about the question. Who cares? People make mistakes all the time.
Yeah.
Because she asked about, she said, they had not fought before, blah blah blah, when they had fight or whatever. I mean, I don't care.
And here's
whatever. But here, let me just put it to you this way. I first of all, I can't believe the way Wayne Simmons handled it. I can only imagine if that question was asked to like a big time like NBA player or like an NFL player, like how they would have reacted. But a guy like, I don't know, maybe she wasn't being serious. That's kind of the theory that's being thrown out there right now, is like that the narrative, I should say, that she wasn't like being serious. She was joking. But let me just say this: Wayne Simmons, over 1,000 games in the NHL. He's got 84 fights in his career, Cam, which for the modern day is an awful lot of fights.
Yeah.
To be asked if you're soft, I couldn't think of a more offensive thing to be
Don't
asked.
ever say offensive. Don't get that stupid fuck word vocabulary. It's not offensive.
Insulting.
It's more like you just don't know how to fucking talk to the dudes. It's not even about, she's just trying to be funny, but she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about when it comes to that. And like, is she the best person for the job at that moment? Like, is there not another person that is better than her? I'm sure there is. Now, I'm not saying she's bad, but that's what it is. She doesn't know how to fucking vibe with those guys. Oh, hey, what's your favorite color? And like, that doesn't mean you know him. You don't know him. Like, you don't know him sitting down, like talking, like everybody knows he's not soft. And I get she's probably trying to joke about it, but it's just like, it's just a cringeworthy vibe, because she just because you're in a locker room doesn't mean you know how to vibe with the guys and know how to talk and know what's real and like what's up. And that's tough to do. Like, if I talk to a baseball player, man, maybe I wouldn't know. Although it's still a sports guy. But I just think that she's just, it wasn't that big of a fucking deal. It's not offensive. Quit saying offensive. Everything's offensive. Now, who cares? Wayne's like, whatever. And Wayne could have been like, what? 1,000 games? I beat the fuck? What? I have no teeth? I'm sorry. What? It's just ridiculous. All good.
I'm looking at it like this, Cam. Like, players, like the last thing they want to ever be labeled as is soft, right? Like, that's like the biggest insult you could take as a player. Okay, so that's what I mean by one. So whether offensive or whatever, I'm not trying to get like political or social about it. I mean, it is what I'm saying is, if I'm a player and I played over 1,000 games in the league and I've got 84 fights in my career, and I'm known as a pretty intimidating physical player.
She was just trying to be cute and funny, but the point is, but here's the point: if that's Darren Pang, like the guy's like, fuck you, banger, it'd be hilarious. Or if like somebody or something like that, or somebody like that you kind of look at, even if you don't know him, but you're like you respect them probably.
Yeah.
Well, she's just trying, and it didn't work. And is she the best for that position? Probably not, Andy. Probably not. But it's okay. It's okay. But that's it. She got rocked pretty good. She fucking blocked Tim Peel. I'm glad Peelsy said something, because I'm not touching that shit on Twitter. We'll talk about it on here, but I ain't fucking touching that bullshit on Twitter. But Peelsy did, and that was pretty goddamn funny. She got rocked pretty good, but you ain't no victim, girl. Everybody gets chirped. You ain't no victim. I can't believe it did this, and everybody else sticks up for her like, that's me. Yeah.
Listen,
like, okay.
You ever see like whether it's Stephen A. Smith or like the Monday Night Football broadcasters or anybody who have like high profile gigs, Joe Buck, Chris Collinsworth, dude, these guys get carved and shredded to absolute pieces. Okay. So when it happens in hockey, we're like, oh my God, what is going on? Listen, for the most part, people don't do that. Hockey isn't, listen, it's not as mainstream. It's not as big on the ESPN platform as you see the NFL and some of these other daily shows hosted by Stephen A. Smith. But these guys get absolutely criticized. So
what are you talking about? Pierre McGuire is a lightning rod.
Pierre McGuire was, sure he was, man. But for the most part, right? I'm just saying hockey, like it happens all the time.
Don Cherry got ripped. Ron McLean gets ripped every fucking day. I mean, everybody gets bashed. But don't, just because you're a woman, you ain't no victim. You're in the spotlight. You fucked up. You're going to get chirped. Don't be like, oh, I can't believe this just happened to me on Twitter, and block people. Just be like, hey, yeah, I fucked up. Who cares? Like, who gives a fuck? Even if you owned it, like, my bad. He's not soft. Whatever. Say that. Instead of being like, This is not good. Like, oh God, whatever.
She kind of threw those producers under the bus too.
That's
who probably help her an awful lot.
I mean, or they could probably go find somebody else that's probably better than her, I would say.
Well, yeah. Listen, again, I don't like to criticize other broadcasters. She made a mistake. The question didn't come out maybe the way she wanted it.
It's all good.
And you probably shouldn't ask a question like that to
don't be a victim,
player that has his resume, right?
Don't be a victim. You ain't no victim. You're making good money. You have a fucking badass job. You fucked up. Guys are gonna chirp you. Own it and say, "Who gives a fuck?" Don't block people. She could have been like, "Yeah, PLC may be right. We all know about fucking up, right?" Or something like that. But now you block. It's just like, oh, I can't believe. Well, that's gonna happen again to you. And now you're just kind of like, we all get it. We're all eating a shit sandwich. Fuck.
Hey, people were chirping Patty because, like, whenever he's mic'd up, whatever, and he's in these exchanges with other players, like, he will throw out the Stanley Cup ring thing. I got 3 rings, whatever.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a tough comeback for some people. But he was kind of getting chirped for that. Is that necessary?
Nah. The Heat Daddy, who we love on Twitter, man, because I was wasted too, and I was like looking at Twitter. I'm like,
he's good.
It's like, are you on Twitter? She's like, kind of get. I'm like, I'm okay. But the Heat Daddy, I go, why wouldn't you say that? You know what these fucking guys, when I played, they all said the same shit to me. It's the same shit. So, like, you got something and you got to one up on a dude.
What would they say to you? Like, you suck. You can't fucking play.
No, they never. No, they're actually. I never chirped people, really.
No, what would they? You said they would chirp you. What would they say to you?
Well, they'd be like, I got millions, or I got more ice time. It's this shit, just regular shit. And they did have more ice time.
Somebody would say, I've got millions to you on the ice. Like, who is that guy?
Oh, well, throughout your whole career. Although, like, we were doing that in juniors. Like,
do people chirp how much money they have versus the other guy?
I mean, sometimes even in juniors more than anything, right? Like, we all kind of did it. Like, because if you sign at a young age and you're drafted in juniors, you're like the big dicks of the fucking league, right? And guys like, I'm stepping on my wall. It's just the same shit over and over. And, Patty's like, how can you chirp me? I got 3 rings. Go fuck yourself. You're desperate. You're trying to get one. You've done a lot, man. You've accomplished a lot. I love Wayne Simmons. We got to get him on the podcast. And But Patty's like, I got 3 rings. Go fuck your fucking self. Now, if Patty calls Wayne soft, that he's stupid, because Patty doesn't throw a punch, and we love him, but he's a horrible fighter. But he's a good player. He scored the other night, sick ass shot, and his hair looks good. But
he scored a couple goals recently.
I hate when he fights. I hate even watching it because it's just so boring.
Why do you say that? Just the way he fights.
He's not doing
Listen, Patty's he's a big body, but I'll say this about Patty. Listen, I don't judge him how he fights with it. He's
you shouldn't, Andy. You've never been to fight your life. Why would you judge him?
I will say that he's willing to go with just about anybody. At least he fights people.
Fights Charles.
There's a lot of guys out there who like talk a lot and chirp a lot and whatever, and they won't drop the gloves. So at least he drops the gloves.
No doubt, but he's also 250. So it's not like you're some little fucking. But I get what you're saying, Andy. You're 100% right on that. And I just made a mistake too. I said, why would you chirp him? You never fought. No, you can't, because you're a fucking analyst. And everybody needs a chirp. The chirping's allowed, even if you didn't do anything. I can't fucking chirp somebody in baseball or something on my radio show because I didn't play sports. It didn't work that way.
Exactly.
So I shouldn't have said that, and that's my bad.
No, you shouldn't, because I've had that conversation with a lot of hockey people.
And I just apologized, and I so there you go.
It kind of went over my head. I didn't even hear it.
Well, it didn't go over my head, and I've been traveling all fucking day. So the point is, though, this whole thing, like,
you look exhausted, by the way. You look absolutely exhausted.
I got energy. I'm bringing energy.
Look, I didn't say you sound. I said you
look like exhausted. Dog shit. No, fucking right. I look like shit. Fucking peeling everywhere too. Sunburn as a motherfucker. Partying. You know how much old boy fucking drinks Rumple Mints every fuck night. I don't pay for a goddamn thing. There's a pharmacia everywhere.
What's a Rumple Mint?
Oh God. All y'all know. If you know, you know. Okay. If you know, you know. Fucks you up.
Like, is that like moonshine at the barbershop here in the States or what?
Barbershop? So anyway, even like Kate tries to keep up with us, because Kate just like always, like, she doesn't go anywhere without me, right? Like, she follows me, and I love her. But like, she'll be like, I want to have one too. I go, no. You're 100 pounds. No, you're not. We've been out in the fucking sun all day. No, I'm going to have a shot. I'm like, motherfucker. She takes a shot, and then she's sick for a little bit.
It's on.
And I'm like, what the fuck did I tell you?
Oh, yeah.
You don't hang with the big boys. Don't hang with. You don't need. You could sip that beer, girl. Get your fucking your mamesta. Get your whatever the fuck. But don't hit these goddamn 100-proof fucking rumples that the fucking big dogs are drinking. Just do your shit, girl. It's all good. I love you. And she got sick, and I went back with her. I don't leave her. And they want me to stay. I go, I got to take care of Kate. So I take her back to the room. We have NHL Network. We're looking at the whole skyline in our room. You could open the doors up where the wind comes in. So she was sick one night. I took her back. I stayed by her side the whole time because that's what you goddamn do.
Really?
Don't leave
the whole night?
One night, yeah.
Well,
I sacrificed
I'm not saying
a night.
I wouldn't do that. So which night was this?
I don't remember.
First night or second night?
I don't know. I was there for 5 nights, dude. That was long. In Cabo. Oh, God. Andy, we're at the end. We're like looking at each other like, oh, Jesus. I miss the puppies so bad. I want to go home. But then the next day you're having fun. But sometimes you're sitting there, you're like in the middle of the day where you have to take a nap, and we're looking at each other like, oh God. And then I know that even though we're flying private, it's a little less time getting back because of the jet stream. I knew I was going to be in hell.
Okay. You don't know about the jet stream. You don't know how that works.
What do you mean?
The jet stream. What are you referring to? The jet stream.
The jet stream, the way that the air flows throughout the United States, it goes from west to east, you stupid ass. So when you fucking go from New York to California, it takes you longer to go in California, New York. Jesus Christ. Don't make me be a dick because I'm in a good mood.
How'd you feel with your shirt off on the beach? You feel pretty good or what?
That's a great question. Okay. I was like, I did push-ups out the motherfucker, dude. And I wasn't
every morning before you go out.
Andy, 350, 400 of them. Oh yeah. Yeah. I know. It is what it is. I'm vain or whatever you want to call it. I don't care. But I'm used to being cut up and I'm a little heavy. But I once I got my tan on and once I got comfortable, I was like, fuck everything. I don't give a shit. But I did do a ton of push-ups. But yeah, man, I haven't had my shirt off in 3 years. So it's everybody's like, who cares? I'm like, what? I don't know. It's just a thing. I was proud of being ripped my whole life. And then like the one time on vacation.
So now what would you consider yourself? If you're not ripped now, what are you now?
Big Jack, bigger Jack kind of thing.
Hey, who was driving that boat?
We had people. We had a catering service.
Thank you. See, like that's the way it works, dude.
You're so out of touch, dude.
You chirp me when I go on these trips and I hire a driver. You chirp me.
Andy,
here you are on vacation with a driver driving your boat.
This is a 60-foot Sundancer, $1.5 million. The owner of the boat ain't having anybody drive it but his crew. That's a big-time boat. That thing costs fucking a shit ton of money. You're driving a little dinky fuck thing in Table Rock Lake where you should drive. You're on a goddamn pond and you hired some 18-year-old guy to creep out your fucking wife. That's what you did. These guys are a bunch of chicks and 2 dudes, 2 captains. And a bunch of chicks serving us, putting sushi in my mouth.
I was in Lake Tahoe.
You had a Hoosier creep your broad out the whole time because you didn't know what the fuck you were doing.
The deepest lake in the world. Did you know that? Lake Tahoe, the deepest lake in the world.
I don't know. I believe that, but it could be true. There's some big time lakes, dude.
Well, that would certainly qualify as a big time lake. Google it and check that out.
I don't know if it's one of the biggest. I don't know. Yeah, I love Lake Tahoe. It's goddamn beautiful. But maybe on that, Andy, you're probably right. You don't want to, but you're doing it at Table Rock Lake, which is embarrassing. But at Lake Tahoe,
I've never been on the water in Table Rock Lake in my life.
Where'd you go that one time where you rented a boat and you had that fucking
in Wisconsin, Lake Geneva.
Yeah.
Hey, Cam, the Vegas Golden Knights, dude. Are you happy they're not making the playoffs? Do you want them in the playoffs? Like, how are you reacting? This is a big story. You can't get around it. I mean, it's interesting for an organization that's been around as few amount of years as they have. There's been a lot of drama attached to it.
Oh man.
I mean, they go to the Cup final, obviously their first year, but then it just seems like increasingly amounts of drama happening, from coach being fired to players being pushed out the door to the goaltending situation. Now they got issues now with Robin Leonard, where there's more drama with Robin Leonard. I question in Vegas, and we'll talk about them not making the playoffs and all that, but I question in Vegas just the level of management that they're getting right now. I mean, I don't want to like point fingers, but the reality is managing your players is a big part of the business in the National Hockey League. You got to be able to do it. And for whatever reason, there's been a lot of drama with star players over there in Vegas.
Too much drama, dude. Way weird shit. Now, Robin Leonard doesn't help anything. Like he's in his own world, and that's tough to deal with and juggle. Pete DeBoer said, "I think he's playing." Like what? He's out for the year. Think he's playing? Now he's out for the year. Like what the fuck? I felt bad for. I want them in the playoffs because they're loud. I want them in the playoffs because there's drama. I want them in the playoffs because of exactly that. I don't want boring teams. I don't want to watch anything.
You want Dallas?
I like Jamie Benn, man. He's a stud. Although he had a great year, but
yeah, but they're kind of boring.
The Kings,
like
they're
Dallas stars.
Kings, like I'm like, like what fuck? So I kind of the Kings just like found a way. I think their goal differential is like even. So it's like you squeaked in pretty good. Although they squeaked in before and they won against us Devils, but yeah, I want that drama. But when you have goalie drama like that, they played they played Sharks last night, I believe. And I felt bad for the rookie. It was a rookie goalie. Who's that cat?
Yeah.
And they went in a shootout, and he was just devastated. And they all came up and hugged him, and I just kind of felt for him. But I like them, man. They're loud, dude. And I don't care. I want people to hate them, but you want the hated teams in the playoffs. So yeah, I do want them in there, Andy.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you there because they got a lot of big time names. I'm watching them play the other night, Cam, and I'm looking at the names. I'm like, okay, there's Theodore, there's Pietrangelo, there's Martinez.
Yeah.
There's, Pacioretty. There's Carlson. Oh, yeah, they have Jack Eichel, too.
Yeah.
I've said it several times about Vegas. It's like you cannot overstate the value of chemistry in the National Hockey League. If you don't have team chemistry and you don't value what certain individuals and the personalities, what they mean to the organization and to the dressing room and the team, and you just think you just bring in the best players and it's automatically going to work. It's been proven it doesn't work that way. It happened in San Jose, too. Just bringing in certain guys. But, I question, man, this guy Tuck playing right now in Buffalo and watching him the way him lead there in Buffalo. I know he's from there and whatever, but just seeing the way the young kids and the veterans there gravitate towards Tuck. It's like, you got rid of this guy? You took him out of your locker room? I mean, I know you wanted Eichel and you got to give up good players, man, but you look at, Nate Schmidt and Marc-Andre Fleury, Tuck, like these guys are character guys, man, that obviously meant a lot more to that dressing room than probably people realize. And this is what they're left with, man. They got this big time payroll, all these superstars up and down their roster. I know they've had injuries and some other issues, but they've got cap drama all the time. It's just always drama with Vegas. So something drastic's going to happen.
Drama's not good, man. I learned that from the great Lou Lamoriello. You don't want drama in your locker room. You don't need it, and he never had it. Besides maybe a couple instances where he couldn't avoid it. Don't get me wrong. You can't avoid drama, but when it's unnecessary, well, I didn't know drama, that kind of shit. Like it's kind of embarrassing for your team. But yeah, like that whole thing, like, oh, I'm not in. But Robin Leonard again, it's probably fucking hard to deal with. Like I don't know. But
probably
back to Jack, and back to Jack Eichel. It's like. I know I like Jack because he said I was cool on Chicklets and I was like one of his favorite ones. So I automatically kind of like him. I'm a simple man. You know how that works. But I do kind of have to chirp him a little bit because he seems like the kind of guy that walks in the locker room and maybe I don't know that just kind of brings you down instead of brings you up, right? Like some superstars don't, they bring you down sometimes. They better be playing goddamn good because there's sort of like aura about them, kind of like, he's just kind of like, I don't care, like kind of. But yeah, he's a great player. So I don't know. And that's hard to explain. And it might sound goofy, but when you play and you see people come in and out and you're dealing with teams your whole life, like you just know when you know. And he might be a product of that. But again, next year they could be unbelievable. So we'll see. We'll see. But there's some big ass games coming up, man. There's some fucking badass games going on. Fights everywhere. Fucking emotion. I love it, dude. Hockey's fucking fun to watch right now, man. Maybe it was me, but these games going back and forth, Minnesota flying around doing their shit. God damn, boy. What's
Minnesota, up? They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. The only 2 losses they have been against St. Louis.
I saw your tweet.
Who they're gonna face in the first round. Both losses obviously being in overtime. So listen, all the Wild fans are correcting me, saying, "Hey, listen, we're 8-0-2 in the last 10. We're not 8-2." I'm like, okay, all right, sorry. If you're 8-0-2 in the last 10 games, it's gonna be a hell of a series. St. Louis has yet to play a game in their building this year. The only road game they've had against Minnesota was the Winter Classic game at the baseball field. So, they've taken advantage of having that home ice advantage.
Yep.
They're going to have to play there for the first time this season. in the playoffs, does it scare you? Like when a team owns another team for as long as they have, do you look at it like, wow, okay, well then they should continue to own them in the playoffs?
No.
Or do you say the other team is due to start winning games against them?
I'm saying everything's up in the air, homie. It's hockey. Everyone's like, oh, they own them. Well, they own them until they don't fucking own them. You get me? That's how it goes. You own them until you don't own them. And the Blues are on a streak with them, and that's fine. But this is going to be a toe-to-toe battle. They're not fucking around. We've talked about what's going to happen next year with them with the $15 million added on for nothing. They're going to be in a jam. They're going all in. And everybody on that damn team knows it. They got a couple superstars on that damn team. Soft, and of course, Marc-Andre Fleury, who fucked up the other night, but then he got in the game and they won. They're down by 2 right off the bat. The Kraken, although the owner of the Kraken is a big friend of my buddy. And I told him I want to, he goes to Cabo Wabo with them, and he FaceTimed us while we're watching that game at the bar, and he bought us a round of shots of like 1942 expensive ass shit, and it was the most disgusting shit I've ever had in my life. But anyway, but the point is, like, yeah, they got superstars, Andy. They're not messing around, and they big and they hit and they're skilled, and they got defense can skate, and they got two good goalies, and it's like, this is going to be a battle. And what you said about playing in their rink was good observation there, homie. That's why you're good at tweeting. I wouldn't fucking notice that. But they go up that building, it ain't easy. Those motherfuckers are crazy up there. They're going to get loud. It's going to be tough. And I think they're going to get home ice advantage. They don't lose either. So this is going to be a total.
They don't lose. They don't lose, man, unless they're playing St. Louis right now. But they give up some goals, though. I think this Minnesota team has some holes. I think Florida has holes too defensively. I don't know how good Florida's goaltending is either. I don't think Florida comes out of the Eastern Conference. I'm going to throw that out there right now. I think they've had a great season. They're exciting to watch. They play that up and down. Listen, I pay to watch them play over like 98% of the NHL. I love watching the Florida Panthers play because they're entertaining. Oh my God, they got great offensive players. They score goals. Plus, they get in your face, too, man, like they did against Tampa Bay. Like, they'll fight, and they got guys that'll initiate. Like, I like this little Sam Bennett. I remember when he was available from Calgary, and I was like, man, I'd take this guy on my team, even though he was struggling at the time. But he hits.
Yeah.
Like,
beat the fuck out of Sergei the other day. You see that?
Sergachev was bleeding, too. I like the Florida Panthers. I just don't see them coming out of the Eastern Conference. I feel like when you've got goaltending issues and you're not that good defensively, like they better get Ekblad back and all that, but they're not that good defensively. It's tough to win,
But look at the league. The games are everybody's scoring, man. It's crazy. And there's a lot of bad goalies.
Can I say this? I think there's more bad teams in the NHL than we've seen in a long time. I mean, there are more terrible teams. You just watch some of these teams that even St. Louis had to play recently. Arizona, they're like an American League team. Anaheim, no good. San Jose, no good. Seattle, no good.
Ottawa, Chicago, Philly.
Oh my God, Philly's like historically bad. Montreal's terrible.
Yep.
I mean, Buffalo. I know they've got like some, but they're terrible. We saw them play like head to head. They're bad.
They're bad, dude.
So they are.
Okay, how's this then?
Like a team like Edmonton, Cam, people get excited about the Oilers. I'd love to see McDavid, see if he could advance and play deep into the playoffs. Although this smells like an upset special. You never know. I get to see LA like frustrate you to death and find a way to keep scoring down low. And who knows if they can truly like stretch this series out long enough against Edmonton to where it makes Edmonton stressed. And all of a sudden, they start hearing the whispers, and everybody, that pressure truly like starts to mount.
I get
you. Oilers.
I think there's a lot of bad teams, but I think there's a lot of good teams. So I think it's not much parity, right? It's like it's like baseball right now, but they're not trying to tank like baseball, where the owners are like 2,000 people in Oakland A's. Like I hate cheap owners. If you own a fucking team and you're cheap, go fuck yourself. I'm sorry. What are you doing? This is your baby. You make your money in your other fucking business. This is your baby. You spend money on this. Sometimes you break even, sometimes you make money, sometimes you don't. But you spend money for the city and everything. So anyway, my point is I do think in hockey though this year you made a good point. There's a lot of bad teams, but I think there's a lot of good teams. Like a lot of teams did spend the money. Like no one's talking about Carolina right now. New York's getting talked about here and there. Pittsburgh, who the fuck knows what they're going to do? Jesus, you got Tampa, you got Florida, Washington. Although Ovi fucking went down. People thought he got tripped up. I don't know. Like, whatever. Dude, Ovi's kind of goofy on penalty shots for an Ovi, thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he fell into the boards. I'm like, oh, boy. But he's okay, I think. But people are like, he tripped. I'm like, I don't know, dude. Fuck, don't get near me. I don't know. So anyway, good point on that. I do think that, but there's a lot of really good teams. There's no like in between. Maybe like Dallas is there or something. I don't know.
Do you worry about a team like Colorado who's just basically been on cruise control the entire season? Now they're losing games. They've lost like 3 or 4 in a row, something like that. And you look at the players that aren't in their lineup the last couple of games, though. They're missing Taves, they're missing Rantanen, they're missing Landeskog. Like, you're not healthy, man. You miss a couple of players, like it completely changes the dynamic of your team. But would that worry you if you're Colorado because of the fact that they haven't really had any real diversity to deal with this season?
It's never a good thing, no matter how good you are, to kind of like limp in. Not limp in meaning like your point wise, but more like just your play. You're limping in like, we're kind of getting by. We lost. We're like, let's get going on this, because that's kind of where they're at. They play the Blues, but tomorrow, Tuesday, which will be today when you guys listen to us. And it's just kind of like a game where the Blues need to win, and we'll see what happens with Minnesota, but to get to home ice. But do I worry about that as a team? If I'm Joe Sakic, yeah, I am. But then you sit back and you look at what you got, and you know where they're at when they're on. And if you can get them there, it might take a period or maybe a half a game, Andy, where you got to get hit a couple times, like, oh, okay, now we're back at it. Then I think they're going to start rocking and rolling. So maybe there's a little bit of concern. But overall, you look at the big picture with that goddamn team, because when they do turn it on, they ain't motherfucking playing, homie.
Yeah, no, they're good, man. All right, listen, before we get to Jean-Sébastien Giguère, J.S. Giguère, did you see that story out of Detroit, too, where the Zamboni driver, longtime Zamboni driver, he's been there like 51 years, and they fire him because he urinated in like a drain where nobody could see him, and the dude who turned him in is now the guy who's driving the Zamboni.
Oh yeah, Andy. Oh
yeah. So the guy who turns him in is now mysteriously, driving the Zamboni, and this guy Sabaka. I'll give him a shout out right now, Ken. He's suing the Red Wings for
do we know
termination.
Okay,
he's got a medical condition, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Where he can't hold it. He can't hold it.
I think I got the same goddamn thing. You see me when we're fucking at the studio, where I got to leave in mid fucking.
I think you do too.
Well, I'm also drinking. But the point is, there might be more to the story. I don't know. There might be more. But if there's not, and he's a good guy, and the players vouch for him, why didn't the players jump in on? Although I don't know if they know the Zamboni driver that much.
No, he's dude, Cam. He's the guy with the octopus and stuff.
Oh, really?
He's like an icon in Detroit. Okay. Everybody knows who he is, and apparently guys like Dylan Larkin and Chris Osgood and some of these guys have reached out to him. Okay. But the lawyer even called the Red Wings organization, because like he's come out and he's like, hey, if Mike Ilitch was still alive, this would never happen.
Oh, probably right.
But listen. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know if this guy all of a sudden has other issues.
What if he's taking dumps in that goddamn drain?
Well, he's been around there for 50 years where they're like, okay, listen, it's time to move on from the Zamboni guy who's been there for 50 years. We got to get somebody else in here. Why? I don't know.
You're a Zamboni driver. What do you mean?
I don't know. You don't know what's going on behind the who knows?
There might be
maybe
more.
He's like crashing into the wall, Cam. You never know. Like maybe the ice is shit. I don't know.
Well, again, if there's not anything else and he's a good guy and they fired him because of that, they could have just talked to him and be like, look, can we find a different alternative when you're grinding
keep you around? Yeah.
Can we find can we put a bathroom system? Look, I don't know, but I don't like that. I don't like when people rat people out. Like, what? You're like, if he's like doing crazy shit, or he's like weirdo girls or women there or something, then it's like somebody rats you out, like, okay. Mm-hmm. But you're peeing in a drain, like those drains are fucking nasty anyway. Who gives a shit? And if somebody told you not to do it, then maybe you could be like, hey, sorry, God, I think I pissed in a drain before in a fucking rink. I don't know. But they could have handled it better. Maybe they could have said, no, can you stop doing that? Maybe we could do something about it. But again, I don't know the full truth of it. But if somebody did rat out a guy that's been there for 50 years and did take his job, I don't like that. I don't like it at all.
Well, that's what my information is. That's what's happening.
Okay.
And he's got a issue where he's forced to urinate a lot. So there's a medical condition. So if they can prove that, Cam, I've watched a lot of legal like TV shows and stuff like that. I would feel like his case for wrongful termination is going to stand in court.
Yeah, man, he's not making any more money, dude. He's probably got a family, and he probably never made that much money. So it's
what, Cam? I saw the interview with him. He's like depressed. He's like crying and stuff. He's like, the Red Wings were my life. Like I'm the guy with the octopus. In 1995. Like, and the fans are like going crazy. Mike Ilitch is calling him and being like, I want you doing that every time somebody throws an octopus on the ice. He was like part of the fabric of the Red Wings family, man. And he gets fired for that. And he's got a medical term. Something doesn't seem right here. So based on the woman who's the legal representation that he has right now, I feel comfortable with the legal representation. And hopefully we get some cameras inside this courtroom, Cam. I want to know how this plays out.
I got other things to watch. There's a lot of things going on.
If Al is listening, I just want you to give him a few words of encouragement. Actually, Al, if you are listening, you should hit me up. I'll send you a cameo. Actually,
that'll help him.
He'll cheer you up as well.
He'll jump off a bridge.
What would your advice be to him right now, Cam?
Well, I'd say it depends on what the situation. Well, okay, dude, it depends on the situation. Like, are you pissing all over the goddamn place? Is there anything else to this? I don't know enough about it. But if it's just he works his ass off, everybody loves him, and he just had to go to the bathroom here and there, no one's looking. If there's like women like fixing things or like cleaning things or dudes, and they keep seeing this guy whip his dick out and piss, that's a problem.
Okay, that's not happening. Nobody's seeing. Nobody's seeing.
No one's seeing it? Okay. I don't know that.
Well, 3 people saw it. There were 3 employees that were there. 2 went to lunch. The other one went and reported him to HR.
But has this been happening where people could walk by and he's pissing in a drain?
It's in a drain that is not visible to anybody who could walk by and see it.
Well, where's that drain at? Because I know where the Zamboni drain is. It's right when you get off the ice, homie. So it ain't that secluded.
Like, did he do this during a Red Wings game? Like during the first period?
That's the thing. I mean, we haven't heard about it. So there's got to be more to it than that. So I don't know, man. I don't know what advice. I don't know enough about it.
I would think if he's truly being mistreated or screwed, that like Steve Yzerman or something like that would be like stepping up to save his job or something. So like I don't know. We don't know all the details.
Well, then there's your probably answer. There's probably more to it. If Stevie
Do you agree with that? Like Stevie Y would be like, dude, what are you guys doing? You're firing him? Like, don't fire him, Zamboni driver.
Well, that's my point. It's like he's not stepping up. So there you go.
There's something going on. Well, I uncovered that.
Good for you.
But the Johnny Depp,
you would uncover the guy that pisses in a drain story.
We cover everything around here, Cam.
Well, that ain't around here. That's in Detroit.
Anything else you want to share with us about your vacation to Cabo? Listen, I needed you to come back refreshed. You fake tanned before you came there, and
it didn't work.
And you were able to get a little base layer there. Anything else you want to share with us before we?
Well, I had a great time. Great time down there. Sometimes you need to take a vacation. Sometimes you need to get, and I tell all y'all this, hear me out. Sometimes you need to go to a hotel room with your girl in a different place, a different setting, and you get freaky. Because when we're hearing dogs around, we don't even have kids, and sometimes we're just not in it. But once I got in it, listen to me. Can I explain? You asked me a fucking question. Because you never talk about banging your fucking wife, so stop. My point is, all y'all out there, sometimes you need to go on a vacation. Right when you walk in a hotel room and you put your bags down, there's a sense of like fucking like, fucking freak. Like, come here, you get over here. Let me see that. Like, come here. Like, and then like you're in a. It's just nice to do that. Kate and I had a good time.
Is that what you say? Come over here and let me see that. Is that what you say?
She'll get out of the shower, tanned up. And I'm like, get the fuck up. Give me you, Let me explore your body real quick. I'm horny as fuck. Not to mention, you can go to the pharmacia and get whatever pills you want to get down with it.
You don't know what you're putting in your body from those places.
When did I? When I was partying. But the point is, sometimes when you're like, God, me and my wife don't. But even if it's something cheap, just get to a hotel, get your fucking wine, get set up, get comfortable, and I'm telling you, sparks will fly a little bit, and it'll rehash that romance.
Are you giving marriage advice here, like relationship advice?
Yeah, I can do that. I've done pretty good for myself as far as like I haven't got any girl pregnant. No girls say Cam's a dick. I've dated so many girls. I've done so many things with shit, and I've been pretty good about it. There's a reason.
We're gonna take our wives. We're gonna go on a vacation. We're gonna go hit the beach one of these days. And you know what? We're gonna bring our listeners with us. I could get us a deal where like they come and like travel with us or whatever. We pick the destination, and we'll have a Well, we'll go on vacation. We'll go on a trip together one of these days. Okay?
I'm not going anywhere for a while because I
know.
flying.
When was the last time you had been on a vacation like that? I mean, away, like on the beach, like part of your wedding, eh?
Oh yeah, and then we won Stanley Cup after that. But
yeah,
I've been to Table Rock. I've been places, but the COVID thing, like we just shut her down, you know. So it's been kind of like, and we got a brand new house. You know, it's just like we had a lot. Dude, we don't want to leave our house. Like, you know, like I told you that. Like this is our baby. Like we're set here, and it's so nice. So where it's like hard to like get nicer, besides going way the fuck somewhere like that. So it's like I don't know. I have everything I want right here.
Yeah. All right. Big shout out to Matthew Tkachuk getting 40 goals and 100 points.
Yeah, man.
So
no doubt.
You know, and Brady's inching very close to 30 goals. He's over 60 points. They're having a hell of a year, man. So big shout out to Matthew for reaching those milestones. Kaprizov, he gets to 100. We'll see a Panarin and Miller, who's having a hell of a year,
My
man.
God. Yeah, he is.
And Mitchie Marner.
Dude,
for this guy to get 100 points is like ridiculous. When you consider
why is that ridiculous? Why is that ridiculous?
He's averaging like 1.4 points a game. Like he's like right there.
But why? He's really good. He's playing with great players, and they have great offense in that.
Well, because he missed he's going to play like 70 games on the year or something.
Okay. But he's just good, man.
Maybe not even get to 70. I don't know.
Hey, but I'm going to give you a little Daryl Sutter quote, who I love, by the way.
I got a different opinion on him.
Then whatever.
Share that with you.
I like what he says, man, because he always talks about the fans too. The fans, he goes, the fans come up to me. And now I talk back. I'm not like that, but he's got that deep fucking, and I love it. And he's like, no, it's about work and the fans wanting you to work hard. And he goes, Pete, the fans don't come up to me and say, Johnny Couture got 100 points. He might get the MVP. No. It's all about what are you going to do in the motherfucking playoffs? And that's it. No individual accolades. No one gives a fuck. The fans don't give a fuck. They'll be like, oh, that's cool on Twitter. Me. And they don't give up. Then they're done. Now they're like, what now? What are you going to do in the playoffs? And that's exactly what he said. Now, sometimes he's a little too harsh on things. I don't give a shit. I love it.
Here's my take on Daryl. I mean, everything he says has a strategy behind it. Right? People made a big deal when he said, hey, you know, whoever, you know, is the wild card team, whatever, is going to be a waste of 8 days, whatever. But Cam, let me ask you this about Daryl Sutter. Yeah. Like, you cannot go through life that miserable. Like, he comes across like he's miserable. I mean, some stuff he says is funny, man. I'm with you. Like, when he talks, dude, I'm turning the TV volume up. I want to hear what he has to say. I laugh at it just like anybody else. But I think about the people that are inside that dressing room, the players and whatever. I don't think it's like a fun environment for them to be in. Now, they're winning games this year, and the guys are having individual success or whatever. But I don't think there's like that strong connection between he and the players. And a lot of the old school coaches are like that, and that's the way they want it. And we've talked to a number of players who won those, you know, on those championship teams in LA who have been on with us, and they have their opinion of Daryl and whatever. But all I'm saying is, man, you just can't be that miserable and go through life being like miserable like that. You got to be a little bit happy. You know what I'm saying?
I get you. But when do you ever talk to him? No. Hear me out. You watch him on post-game interviews. He's playing the fucking game. Now, he's also the kind of coach, which I don't like, and he's not my style coach. I like guys that talk to me. I bet you if I walked through the locker room, he wouldn't say hi to me. And I don't like that. He's probably that guy. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. I don't know. But you're judging him on his post. He's playing the fucking game. Now, he could be completely different. So, like, I don't know. But whatever he's doing, it's old school, and it's working.
Yeah, well, I said everything he says, there's a strategy behind it, right?
Well, there you go. But you say he's miserable. You don't know when he goes home and has fucking 4 beer and he's shooting shit with everybody, telling stories. You don't know.
Well, I'm sure he's a great guy. People who know him, like, they really like him. But all I'm saying is, like, the players, like, do they really enjoy playing for him? I don't know if they do.
I don't know. Maybe not. But like, does Berube not look miserable every time you fucking see him on post game? Even if they win, he looks miserable. Always. I like it. I don't want happy. We did this. No, it's like, this is what the fuck. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, no. Jim Thomas, what? No. Yeah, no.
I don't know. Listen, when they're winning, you see JT, or not JT, but you see Berube laugh and smile and stuff like that, especially during the pregame, some of the stuff. So, but I hear and he makes these reporters like feel like shit for even asking it. You know what I mean?
Whatever. Fuck them. I love it. These fucking reporters, like, he's probably fuck all you. And he likes a couple, but there's some dickwads in that fucking scheme. You know, Andy, with like, what about this? What the fuck? We just lost by what? You know how it is, dude. So it's like he's been doing it so long. I just don't mind it. Now, if he's rude to the guys, like we'll talk to Lucci boy. We'll talk to the guys when we have these guys on or whatever. You know, like we'll see. We'll get the inside scoop on that, but
we'll find out.
Doesn't bother me.
I want to say in a nutshell, just so people are clear, I enjoy Daryl as much as anybody, man. When he speaks, like honestly, I don't miss one of his post-game news conferences. I want to hear what he has to say. The Calgary Flames are very interesting to me.
Fun watch.
You know, like as a team, like they're fun. I'm really curious, like to see like who they are come playoff time.
I'm excited, dude.
I just don't know. Like I can't sit here and say with 100% certainty like they're gonna roll and have a deep run. Like I have no idea if they are or not. I'm excited for the playoffs to begin. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Me too.
We'll have lots of coverage for you and content always on our Instagram and Twitter. So stay tuned and follow us for sure at Cam and Strick Pod, or just at Cam and Strick actually on Twitter and Instagram and
Facebook,
Facebook, everything,
TikTok, everything.
Yeah. So
follow us on all of it. All
right.
Andy and I and Cam and Strick podcast.
Jean-Sébastien Giguère. I can't say his name, dude. Jean-Sébastien. JS. Sebastian. Well,
what a great guy.
Sebastian, dude. It's Jean-Sébastien. Dude, a crazy story. Like his entire career, he played a long time in the minors and like had to fight his way to get to the NHL as a guy who was drafted in the first round. So obviously people saw potential in him at a young age. Wins the Stanley Cup after losing the Stanley Cup and winning the Conn Smythe trophy. I mean, he's got like dehydration issues that he's had to deal with throughout the course of his career, which is like super crazy, Cam. So
dude, oh my god, dude, he had to get IV, crazy stuff that I was so
leave his
dehydrated.
IV in during a playoff game and play with an IV in there.
I don't like that. That's scary.
Dude, you were having a hard time when he was telling that story. I was looking at you. You're like moving around. I thought you were gonna like pass out.
Because I know if I had an IV in my arm and I was playing, I would rip my whole fucking forearm out and I'd bleed to death. I hate that. I hate it.
I don't like it either.
Dude, I was drinking Pedialyte all weekend. Didn't do any of that. Pissing out of my ass all goddamn weekend. It's hard to stay hydrated, man. It really
you were
is.
Drinking Pedialyte and you're in Mexico. You don't drink the water there, Cam. I forgot to tell you that before you left.
Thank you.
You don't do that.
I know.
And I wouldn't be eating salads and stuff like that either. I hope you weren't.
I eat all kinds of shit, dude. I'm sick of their goddamn food. All of it.
Did you eat some good
food?
Mexican food?
Yeah, we went everywhere. Yeah, we ate Kate and I. God, we spent so much. We just tried everything. We did this.
Cam, when I go to Mexico, I won't eat pizza. I won't eat salads. I won't eat pasta. I just eat Mexican food the whole time. Yeah, that's what you do in Mexico.
Andy, you eat like Mexican a goddamn bird everywhere you go. No shit. I'm not going to go down there and order a fucking burger. No, I'm going to eat their fucking shit. Like the fucking tacos and enchilada. Whatever the fuck. But we're partying. It doesn't even matter.
I hope you tip people down there.
I tip them all.
They rely on that.
I didn't like spending my fucking credit card down there because I was scared that they're gonna steal it. Because that's a problem. So I brought a shit ton of cash.
You bring traveler's checks, dude. That's what you do.
Okay. No, you always have cash on you, man, because you're always tipping dudes out, or you need something, or whatever the fuck, and you just bring cash, so you have it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, traveler's. What are you in the 80s?
All right, we got to get to J.S. Giguère, man. People are going to love this interview. Plus, if you're like a goaltender or you played goalie or you have got a kid that's a goalie, whatever, you're going to like the goalie talk, too, coming up here. All right, did you see any like hair club locations down there in Mexico? Because they're all over North America.
I always see when I watch the Panthers.
The Florida Panthers,
or the Marlins. The Marlins, right where they hit a bomb in the outfield, there's a big hair club sign right there, baby. Mm-hmm. Yeah. My hair looked good this weekend, man. I told you I'd be balder than a goddamn door. No, I wouldn't be, because I'd have the back of my head. Well, I'd have to shave it, but the whole thing would be. I got my front done, and it looked good. Like if there's not a drone over my head, like I said, like you can't see my bald spot because the hair in my front part's thick because I got it done by Hans Wyman, which is a part of Hair Club. So you just go to Hair Club anywhere, you get this little fucking machine that goes yum 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 yum, and just puts all this fucking your hair in the back of your head that's thick. They transplant the big hairs that have like 2 or 3 in them, and they put them on top like blah 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 blah.
Cam, there's basically 3 things you can do, and there's probably more than 3. There's like solutions for everybody, but a hair club, honestly, you want to regrow your hair, you want to replace your hair, or you want to restore your hair. Like those are the 3 R's. Can you repeat those for me real quick?
Repeat
those.
Stop.
Replace, regrow,
restore.
Yeah.
But when you restore your hair, they don't just put it in; it grows. It takes like 12 to 18 months. It grows in. So
what did you have done?
That, dude, it's called the artist fucking robot. It's unbelievable. You just set yourself in thing. It goes, whoop. It takes this out, goes ding, ding, ding from all the thick parts of the back of your head that doesn't go bald, and they put it in the front. I got 1,500 of them in, and they go whap, whap, whap. And look at my front. It looks good, dude, except for the back part. But the front part looks great. So they put it in, Andy. It's not just like they take that out and it just sits there. No, it's nothing. It's in there. It's like this. It's like the seed in there or whatever, and then it starts growing like a fucking chia pet.
It sprouts.
Yes, it's the best feeling in the world.
Like my neighbor's garden, basically. You put like some seeds in there and it just sprouts out.
Is he wearing a mask out there gardening?
No, not him, but like some other neighbors who got very high ACT scores are also walking around the neighborhood with a mask.
Do something with it then. Do something with it.
But that's the
nerd boy.
I'm glad you finally are explaining it that way. They put like the seeds in the soil and then like it grows.
Well, you shave your head and they take it out, and then sometimes they'll come and it just takes a while. But you see when you're every time you do something where you need to put gel on your hair and you're going out or whatever, you start seeing it grow and you're like, fuck yeah. And when you get a haircut, the girl will be like, oh my God, there's hair on there. It's interesting. And you're like, yeah, there is, girl. What's up? And I'm going to have a good head of hair now and look like Patrick Swayze back in the day.
800-279-7878. 800-279-7878 for Hair Club. Hairclub.com/Cam and Strick. That's our landing page. Go there and schedule your first consultation, and you'll get a nice little fat discount for using our landing page to schedule your consultation. Again, 800-279-7878, Cam. All right, CarShield and CarShield.com. Man, we love our friends at CarShield. We've been telling you forever, protect yourself. You never know when shit's going to go down. I mean, it really is that simple. You never know. Computer, and we all know what the computer shortage is right now with all these chips and whatever. So who knows how long it would take to get that replaced. But your alternator, your starter, brakes, whatever it is. Get that protection with CarShield. 800-857-2481. Use that promo code CAM, which is very embarrassing. But just do it. It's going to save you money. Otherwise, I wouldn't tell you to do it.
Well, no, of course. Man, I feel like my truck, though, like the goddamn fans
Did it start?
My truck, yeah.
When you got back? Okay, good.
Yeah, what is it? It's fucking 6 degrees out. But my fan's really loud, and I've never, and I'm like, what, is it going to explode? I'm like, what is that all about? So I'm like, I got CarShield, and I'm like, I might have to fucking call them up when this fan's going crazy. My fan, I don't know what that is. So I'm going to get a lot in the comments on that one, but just let me know.
Dude, your fan's going crazy?
Yeah, my cooling fan and the engine just kind of just
loud. Cam, I'll look at it later.
Yeah, come out here and look at it, Andy, will you?
I'll look at it.
Yeah. You know how to pop the hood.
You ever change your own oil? Because I can do that too.
No. Why would I do that? I go to goddamn Jiffy Lube. There are a bunch of hockey fans in Eureka, and they hook me up.
But no, in all seriousness, I'm being serious. Tomorrow after your show, or you're not going in tomorrow, but the next day, just drive over afterwards, and I'll look at it for you.
Thank you. I'll be there. Hold your breath. I'll be there.
What about Lucy Goosey? Did you take your Lucy with you?
100,000%.
People in Mexico were probably like, "Oh my God, what is that?"
Yep.
Oh yeah.
They loved it. I gave a bunch of. I actually gave out a couple sample packs to some guys. I need some more of that. By the way, oh y'all listening?
Gotcha. When you come over for me to look at, when you come over,
I ain't going to your house.
Car, I'll give you some.
But I use it, and it's great on planes and stuff like that. Like, these guys have nice, like the bedrooms, all the pillows to everything is they're so nice to where if I spilled my fucking chew on there, like, oh God, I just feel like an asshole. So I just put my Lucy in, and I'm good, baby.
Mm-hmm. You put some little like Lucy under everybody's pillow.
Yeah. They're like, what's the?
I mean, that's what I would do if I owned a hotel. Everybody would get some Lucy.
I smoked a lot of darts too, and I feel like dog shit from that.
Well, you've been doing that since the Blues game.
Oh God, I gotta stop doing that.
Yeah. Ever since they wouldn't let you in.
Well, I don't do it because
I told some people down there,
it.
Cam, just so you know, I got your back. I'm investigating this situation.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm scared to go down. I don't want to get embarrassed. I'm like,
I mean, we don't want you scared.
I got to take my pants off now. No, I'm being a pussy, and I know that, and it's all good. I'm a princess. I told you that.
Hey, what flavor did you take down there for the Lucy?
I like the wintergreen now because
I know you do, because you feel like it's more realistic, or what?
It's more realistic than that fucking shithole grizzly. Yeah, so I use that a lot. But if I want my breath to be like better, then I use the cinnamon or mango.
Yeah. Listen, the gum is incredible. Cam, I've been getting a little nauseous after I've been smoking my cigars recently, by the way. I don't know what I'm getting, like head rushes from that. What is that? Why do you think that is?
Just because you're inhaling smoke, dude. They're powerful.
No, I do smoke them. I do. I enjoy them. But I think the ones I have right now are a little bit
probably hardcore. Yeah. I don't know. I don't smoke them. I told you. I've done everything. And I just don't like it that much.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the Loosey Goosey, they've got the lozenges, the pouches, but they also have the gum. I want to tell our Canadian listeners right now, the gum is where it's at. It's all good, but you can only get the gum in Canada. Yeah. So if you're a Canadian, Lucy.co, use that promo code Cam and Strick. It's going to save you a bunch of money, which is what you want. So our Canadian folk up there, listen, get that gum, get that Lucy gum. Lots of different flavors. I've got a bunch right here, Cam. I'm looking at. I'm going to give these to you when you come over to have your. Look at your card. I got the pomegranate for you.
Yeah, why don't you give me those damn things? You don't need them. You don't crave nicotine.
Cam, I'm getting lightheaded from the cigars, dude. I do need them. Okay.
I don't think there's nicotine in cigars, though. It's just tobacco. Like I need that. I'm fucking putting fiberglass and nicotine in my mouth.
Yeah, they got mango flavored pouches too, so I got some of those for you when you come by. Yeah.
Why do you have stuff that I need? You have a lot of things over there. Maybe I should go to your house because there's fucking clothes, there's hats. Who knows? Probably some checks. Who knows what's over there? I might have to snoop around a little bit. See what the hell you're not giving me.
Bring your car.
I can check that fan out.
Yeah, I'll look at that for you. Do I have to get under the car for that? I can get under the car if I need to. I'll just lift it up a little bit if I need to.
You wouldn't
I'll lift it. So anyway, Lucy.co. Get on there and order it today, and let us know what you think, man. Please let us know what you think about the Lucy, and thank you for your support of all our sponsors, including Bellman and Bellman.com, our boy Danny Boy. If you've got a car right now and you're looking to upgrade your vehicle, and if you have a used car, Cam, there's never been a better time ever, like in civilization, to sell your used car. Like they will give you several $1,000s above Kelly Blue Book. Now is the time to do it. Danny Boy over at Bellman Automotive. They will buy your used car from you, and they've got all different types of cars right now going on with this Buick GMC dealership on one side of the street in Troy. Right on the other side, you got the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Cam, this Jeep Wagoneer, by the way, I'm seeing these on the road. They've got the Grand
cool?
Oh, my God. Super cool.
Well, very cool. It's not my style because I like the Cherokees better.
Well, but they're big. It kind of looks like a Navigator.
Yeah.
You know, like a Navigator version of like a Jeep Cherokee.
Yeah, okay. I don't know.
It's an extended look. You got to check it out. It's brand new.
I want to ask the boys over there, like, what are they selling off the hook? Like, what's the popular thing that's maybe like we wouldn't think of? Like, not like an Escalade or whatever. Like, what's some popular thing? Like maybe a Buick or something. Some kind of like particular car.
Got a lot of options for you. They
have all kinds of shit. Like, what do you think that something unique that people are like really liking? I'd like to know. Why don't you fucking ask them?
Yeah. Okay. Well, you can ask them too. You get
Chrysler, both Dodge,
Jeep, Ram. They got everything. Buick GMC on one side of the street, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. We've had so many people that have supported all our sponsors, including Bellman, man. We appreciate that. Bellman.com, BEHLMANN.com. People come up to me literally at games and whatever, and they bring up Dan Bellman's name. It's actually hilarious.
He's all over the place, man. Youth hockey, all that shit too, man.
Danny, but even Local Legend, our boy from Local Legend who was doing some stuff with us, whatever, he used to always talk about Danny Boy and the messages.
I've been wearing a lot of his hats all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Good, man. So anyway, Bellman.com. Check that out and get there today. And, of course, the Better Business Bureau, Cam. I need to check out the rating of where you just stayed over there in Colorado, making sure that it was up to.
I'd like to know what that.
How did it compare? How did it compare with where you stayed in New York?
I mean, that's a stupid question. Like I can't. One's paradise, and the other's like you're here to watch a couple games, and it's not. I didn't pay for it.
One's a misery.
Well, if I'm in, I don't go places. I don't like to go. They paid for me to go there, right? And I was hanging up to fans that time, so I don't want to. Dude, they hooked me up, and that's the Blues, and But like, if I'm going to do something, like I am definitely going to go to that goddamn website, BBB, and be like, what's up? Where am I looking at? What kind of room can I get? How is there a back thing? How's the bathroom situation? Is it next to something shady? Is there weird things? Has there been whatever? Like, yeah, goddamn right. Don't just be no, do your goddamn research, because that could ruin shit. It can
absolutely ruin stuff.
And you remember I talk about like when you get freaky with your girl because you're in a hotel? Well, that could be like the complete opposite effect if you have a shithole fuck room.
Within 30 seconds of walking in the room, that's how it works, right?
You just my God. She ain't banging you that night. I'll tell you that, and you're going to be miserable.
Depending on if you didn't do your research, that may be happen to you. So make sure you do your research. I check the BBB before anywhere I go now, restaurants. We're planning our vacation right now for a couple different locations, man. And I'm checking it out right now, the BBB, just to make sure where you stay, that you're not going to regret it once you get there. That is the worst thing you can do. All of a sudden you get there and you're like, oh my God. Well, you only have yourself to blame. So read the reviews and make sure you know what's up. They've been around for over 100 years, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars that they've generated through their great work over there at the BBB. So check it out, bbb.org. If you're local, 314-644. Actually, take out the phone number. I don't even know the fucking phone number. So check out the bbb.org. All right, let's get to J.S. Giguère, man. Great conversation. Unbelievable career. So much to get into with the one and only J.S. Giguère, the former Conn Smythe winner. Joins us right here on the Cam and Strick Podcast. The Cam and Strick Podcast is brought to you by CarShield. Nothing more frustrating, Cam, than when that engine light comes on and right off the bat, you're going to have to spend thousands of dollars to repair your vehicle. Call 800-857-2481. Mention the promo code CAM or visit carshield.com and use the code CAM to save 10%. Yeah. That's carshield.com. A deductible may apply. Save yourself money. Sign up and get your coverage now with carshield.com. Now to the interview.
Hello.
Sebastian, what's up?
Hey.
What up, dude?
What's going on? Hey,
not much.
Cam wants to do this in French. Is that okay?
Yeah, please.
Yes, please.
No, I want to do it in Russian. No, we're good.
Where you at, man? Good. Where you at? You up in Quebec?
Yeah, I'm up in Quebec, just north of Montreal.
Oh, there you go, man.
What do you got up there, man?
Yes.
You on the lake? Like, what's your setup like up there?
I'm on a golf course, which I don't love golf, but anyway, I'll sacrifice myself a few times this summer. But no, it's a quiet spot. It's my hometown, so it's where I was raised, and we have a cottage in Nova Scotia, so on the water there.
Of course you do. Why aren't we? We need to be doing this interview from the cottage. I'll tell you that.
Yes, you should.
Hey, why Nova Scotia? Why Nova Scotia, though? Like, why would you pick that?
My wife, I played for the Mooseheads there. My wife is from Halifax. So the deal was we're going to live in Montreal, but we're going to have a cottage there, spend part of the summer. And, it's a good deal, really, if you ask me.
Okay, so Nova Scotia, like, break it down. Like, is Nova Scotia different than the rest of the country? Like, what's going on in Nova Scotia versus, like, Ontario, Quebec, where you're from, all of that?
Well, people are actually friendly there. They're kind of laid back, and like it's very it's surrounded by the ocean, right? So it's very nature. If you want to be outdoor, and I love boating. This is my passion. That's what I like to do the most. So yeah. So it's a boat's heaven, right? There's tons of islands, beaches, and stuff that you can go boat to, and it's just like I said, the people there are so nice and relax and like to have a good time. They're they welcome everybody. So it's a good spot to spend part of the summer, I think, and my kids enjoy it. They get to see their grandparents, their aunts and uncle and stuff like that. So it's a good spot.
It's like the Midwest. You're not in Hollywood, you're not in New York, you're in the Midwest. Everybody's happy, nice, they're friendly.
Except it's on the water.
They actually like wave to you and shit, so it's a little different. But again, you're a boat guy, so am I. Andy's not. He doesn't know anything about boats.
Hey, do you drive your own boat, Sebastian?
Let me ask him. He does drive his own boat. He's a man. So like what do you got going? And you're dealing with, are you on lakes or are you in the ocean? Because there's a big difference there. The ocean's scary, man.
Yes, no, the ocean is very scary. I'm on the so in Nova Scotia, I'm on the ocean, except I'm in like the back of a bay, so it's very quiet. It looks like a lake in front of my cottage, and so I got a little 22 feet boat there, and it's a lot of fun. It's a bit of a fishing boat, and it's really when I bought the boat, I had told the guy I just want a really sexy boat. I want one of those boats that people look at you when you're in it, and that's. He's like, you cannot have that in the ocean, and you're gonna, you're not gonna enjoy it. And he was so right. I didn't know anything about boat, and so I ended up buying a fishing boat. The last thing I thought I would buy, but it's really sturdy. Like if you have any kind of waves, any kind of weather, it still kind of goes right through it, and it's a lot of fun. And then I've got another boat here in Montreal. That's more. We have I'm on the St. Lawrence River, and I got a marina on the Ottawa River too, and we boat those waters, and that's a different kind of boating, more family, we sleep on the boat and stuff like that, so that's a lot of fun.
Nice. Okay, so what size is that boat? And then we'll talk about the boats that I normally get when I'm on the lake here, Sebastian. We can talk about all different types of boat. What kind of boat you have there in Quebec?
Well, I got a 50-foot boat.
Oh, baby.
And it's Monte Carlo. But, it's a nice boat. Yes. We have a lot of friends that, my best friend has a boat too. And we do this as a family. He's got 2 kids. And the marina where we're at, it's in a resort. It's in a Fairmount Hotel. And it's just there's pools, there's tennis courts, there's bikes, there's all kinds of stuff for the kids. So it's very family oriented, and it's and it's a beautiful. The Ottawa River is just a beautiful river. So
who's that? Who's that best friend? Solani? Is that who you're hanging out with?
He has a nice boat too. I don't know someone
sure
better.
Better. Yeah. But it is nice, man. Even I don't think we always ask people that too, because I'm obsessed with lakes and boats and all that stuff. And just people don't understand, if you wake up and you see water. It automatically puts you in a good mood, you're looking over.
Oh, absolutely.
You know how it is at nighttime when the sun's coming down, you're on the dock, kick your feet up. It's just a different element that you go with your head, man, that just kind of puts you away and makes you feel pretty good about yourself.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And in the summer too, most people have to go back home on Sunday night because they're working the next day. But I'm lucky, so I don't have to work on Monday. So I get to, get up in the Monday morning, have my coffee, and it's just, the marina is everything is steel and there's nobody there because everybody's left, and I get to enjoy my coffee, and it's and the spot where I'm at, it's beautiful. It's just a beautiful marina, and I really consider myself lucky, in life, and I know I worked hard for what I got, but it's I still can't believe it sometimes.
Oh my God!
I'm able to be enjoying life this much,
I get you, man. I love that, man. And I like how you put that too, because listen, everything wasn't always great, right? Throughout the course of your career, you had a great career and a long career, and you had a lot of individual success and team success. But there's frustration along with it too. But now that you're enjoying yourself, you can probably kick back and be like, man, everything was worth it, right?
Yeah, no, it was. You're right. Everything was worth it. My parents had to do a lot of sacrifice. They had 5 kids, and my dad was just working for the Canadian government, so he didn't have a lot of means, and he wanted to make sure that we had sports all the time. We all played hockey, or my sister played hockey or ringettes, as they grew up, and we always had a summer sport too, whether it was baseball, football, or something like that. So, everything, he wanted to make sure that we were moving a lot, and he put a ton of money and energy into that. And, it paid off. It paid off for me, and it paid off for my brothers and sisters too, because we all benefit from that at some point in our life. And we still, do all kind of sports, every one of us. So it was worth it, that's for sure.
Hey, didn't you buy into a junior team in the Quebec League? You still own that team, or are you out of that?
Yeah, no, I still own the team. I'm part of very, very minor share of the Armada, Blainville Barrie Armada, and in the Q. We're So Blainville is my hometown. We're about half hour from downtown Montreal, and that's the only team in the Montreal region is our team, and we're doing okay. You know, this year we're a very young team. We traded all of our veterans at the end there, of trading deadline, and a couple of years ago, probably more than that, 4 years ago, the Laval Rockets moved in about 10 minutes from our home, so that kind of hurt us a little bit. But anyway, we're plugging along, and hopefully in the next couple of years there we'll have a good team and try to get some fans back in our building.
So when they move near you, can't you look at that like a rivalry? So like you guys play against each other.
What's the American
hatred? What's that?
Laval Rock? Is that the American League, right? Is that what you're talking about or not?
Yeah, that's the AHL. Yeah, that's the Canadians farm team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's we're competing. I mean, basically for the same fan base. Where the rinks from one rink to the next one, it's at the most 10 minutes, right? And their building is brand new.
Yeah, that'll
state of the art.
The building thing.
That'll do it, because like even like a junior team like here in St. Louis has never really worked out very well, because they got to compete even with the Blues. You know, I mean, it's like they've had minor hockey here in St. Louis, and it's tough for some of those other teams to come into an NHL market, let alone Montreal, where people are so crazy about fans. But again, you got the American Hockey League team. Wasn't there another team in the queue that went to Montreal though, who moved from Lewiston to Montreal a few years back?
Yes, well, there was. There's always they always try to put a team in Montreal, and when I was young, there was when my brother was young, there's probably 16 right in Montreal or around Montreal. So, it's a tough market because people are Canadian fans. They follow. I don't even know if they're hockey fans. They're just Canadian fans. They love the team, and they'll do anything to watch a Canadians hockey game. But it's a little bit harder in the juniors. It's hard to get out there in the news and to be talked about. And anyway, we've been here for probably now 10 years, and we're doing pretty good. But it's it's a tough sell. We just got to make sure that we market our team well and that we have a competitive team mostly. And although we're really young this year, we're still competitive, and the pandemic probably didn't help in the matter too. So the schedule is all over the place. We play a lot of weekdays game that we didn't used to, and so it's hard to the people that follow us, even I, like sometimes I'm like, I didn't even know we're playing today. Like it's it makes it hard to follow, but I think that we're going to find a way to do good. I think there's enough people that like hockey in the city that should be able to support 3 teams, but we'll have to see, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to know. You're just a minor owner, and what you got shit to do there, Sebastian. You're on the water, you're boating and stuff like that. So, that's for somebody else to worry about all the time. So how do you reflect on your career, man? You had such a great run in Anaheim and so much success. I mean, how'd that situation end for you, by the way, before you went to Toronto? Like, how did that go down? Jonas Hiller was there. He was kind of a young up-and-coming goaltender. Like, were you looking for a change of scenery? Like, how'd that go down for you to end up in Toronto, even though, you had some familiarity with Brian Burke being there?
Well, I didn't, I had a no-move clause in Anaheim, but I had asked for a trade. At the beginning of the season, I kind of felt that my time there was coming to an end. Jonas was playing really well. He was at his prime of his career, and I really wanted a chance at trying to be a number one again, to be able to compete for number one. I thought that in Anaheim I kind of lost, even the chance to be able to compete. So, and it was done in a good way. I asked, and it was quiet. We didn't go public with that. And truthfully, when it happened, I didn't expect it. And we were on the road in Tampa Bay, and I didn't bring my passport with me because we didn't need it because we stayed in the U.S. And I was so surprised when they asked me they had a trade for me. I thought I was untradeable at this point. I was making quite a bit of money, and I was like, nobody's going to want me anyway. So it was a relief, and when I heard it was Toronto, I wasn't surprised. I knew Berkey liked me a lot, and I felt like it was, playing in the original 16, it's a dream of, I find most hockey players, if not every hockey player. And I was like, oh, what a great opportunity to experience something new and go into a hockey market. And, although I really enjoyed my 10 years in Anaheim, it was a real fun change to go to Toronto, and I loved every second of it. Like, it was such a great experience, even though on ice, it was a little bit harder, and I got injured so many times. But off ice and living in Toronto, and we got a house in close to downtown. It was such a great and unique experience, very different from Anaheim.
Yeah, there's no question.
I bet it is.
Although you had 2 shutouts in your first 2 starts there in Toronto, so you always remind people of that, Sebastian. We'll remind them for you.
Yeah, at least I have that under my belt.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Tough way to start. Everybody thought I would, do this game after game, but I was.
Hey, but it's funny. Like, I feel like I knew so much about your career, and then like you do some research or whatever, and like you're like the last active player to play for the Hartford Whalers. I mean, you played for the Whalers. That's how far back you go, and that you actually began like really your NHL career in terms of when things got started in Calgary. Like, you remember the Calgary Flames, and like they traded you to Anaheim, which I'm sure they were kicking themselves for, but just to go to Hartford, like at a young age, I mean, I know you were in the NHL, but what was that experience like?
Well, Hartford was, I was just a young guy, and they had Sean Burke had gotten hurt, broken his finger or something like that, and they were unhappy with, I think it was Manny Legacy. That was their third goalie then, and they weren't happy with him. I think maybe wasn't in good shape, wasn't putting in good numbers in the minors, and for me,
no, Manny,
no, he's cut like a statue.
So, for me, I had asked during the summer prior to that, is like I told my agent, I'm like, I know that we're waiting to sign a contract because we're trying to get the most money possible, but honestly, like I am sick of borrowing my dad's car. So can we just try to get some. Maybe a deal done, and I can, buy myself my first car and try to, like I had no money to my name, right?
Oh, my God.
So we ended up like, signing a deal in the summer, and that really helped me because I went to camp. I had a pretty good camp. They sent me back to junior, and when they weren't happy with Manny, they called me up, from junior. So it was kind of very unexpected for me, and it was a great experience, although I must say, like, I was not ready to play in the NHL. I was, physically, I was 25 pounds lighter than what I played at my prime. And I was, mentally at 19 years old, you're just not ready as a goalie. I mean, some guys might be, but I wasn't. I needed time to grow and to spend in the AHL and learn the ropes of being a pro and stuff like that. But I have very fond memories of playing in Hartford. It was a fun time, and I ended up being the last player ever to play for the active player to play for the Whalers. So I have that under my belt too, I guess.
Who was on that team when you were there and like in the locker room? And like when you walk around town in Hartford, like do people even recognize you? Like,
gosh, I mean it's so long ago, but no, not really. Not many. I wasn't there long enough and to really experience that. But Jeff O'Neill took me under his wing. I stayed at his house, and he let me borrow his car. So it was, really nice. I'm really grateful. Like, showed me the ropes a little bit. And Kevin Deneen was our captain, so that was great. We had Brendan Shanahan that was there before he got traded when I was there. Paul Coffey was there. There was a bunch of we had a good team, but we were terrible, So, hey. But the injury to Sean Burke didn't help at the time.
Yeah, he probably got in a fight.
He probably
broke his finger.
We had him on.
Hey, listen, we had him, but we had Keith Primo on too. Who came to Hartford with Coffey, and he told us that like Coffey didn't want to be there, and like guys would go up to him during practice and be like, "Look, man, if you don't want to be here, like like you're not helping us, like not being happy by being in Hartford." Like, did you pick up on that at a young age, or did you not even like see that happening?
Honestly, no, I didn't pick up on much then. I think I was just happy to be there. I was happy to get the experience, but I didn't get the any of those side stories and what was going on. And truthfully, I was thankful because Jim Waterford was a GM and Paul Morris was the coach. Mm-hmm. And they made, they gave, like, I think they gave me about 7 starts or something like that. But they told me, they just wanted to make sure that I didn't feel the pressure. Like, the team was not playing well, and there was a lot of pressure on them to win some games and stuff. But they always made sure that win or lose, you have nothing to do with any of that. You just go out there and try to have fun. But the pressure is on the older players, on the veterans. And even the players would come and see me, and don't worry about the results. Just play your games, and, the results, we're going to take the heat. And I always remember that as being very, sometimes we put a lot of pressure on young players, on rookies and stuff like that. And they really shouldn't have that kind of pressure in the NHL. They're young guys. They don't know what they're doing. They're just trying to, go along and try to figure out what it is to be a pro and stuff like that. And I always remember that as being a good thing for me.
Yeah, man. I see that with some young guys too, like the pressure that they're under. Like some guys, they just crack, Sebastian. Like I was talking to Chris Pronger about this the other day, actually, like saying how young these guys are, man. I'm like, they're like children, like the older you get, like covering the game, Absolutely. And like they're like young coming in, like they're barely older than your kids, even though my kids are still young and stuff like that. But I coach 16-year-olds. I mean, these kids are like sometimes 2-3 years older than these kids that you coach. It's like they are young, man. They're not really ready for it, are they?
Absolutely, no, they're not ready. And like you take, for example, here in Montreal, Cole Caulfield. And, he's coming in from the NCAA, and he had a good run in the playoff, played really well. But he just came in a situation that there was a lot of, adrenaline going, a lot of stuff. And when you come back the next year and you've had time to think about what happened and stuff like that, and you come back, but he's still just a rookie. He's just a young guy. Like, you can't expect, everybody thought he was going to have 40, 50 goals. And the pressure that kid was under, and he shouldn't have even had any pressure. Like, I thought that the team relied on him way too much. There was pressure from the management, from the coach and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. For a young guy that didn't even know what the NHL was all about. Like, he came in the playoff. This is not what a regular NHL season is. So I felt really sorry for the kid because he had way too much pressure and he was criticized way too much. And everybody thought that he was a bust and stuff like that. It was amazing here, like how much bad press he had, and it was very unfortunate going on that it was on a young guy like that.
Yeah, man, and he's playing in Montreal, where it's such a loud fan base. I mean, listen, you played in Anaheim, where there's a lot of pressure in Anaheim too. But if you want to escape and you just want to go home and have quiet, like, you can have that, can't you? I mean, playing in a market like Anaheim, I mean, how different was that versus, even though you weren't in Toronto very long, but like being in a market like Toronto, like could you have seen yourself playing in a market like that long term? Like, would you have wanted that, or did you like being in these quiet markets?
Well, I love playing in Anaheim. It was obviously I have good memories there. My kids were born there and stuff like that. So winning the Stanley Cup with the Ducks, but. When I got traded to Toronto, it was a very opposite situation as far as being recognized on the street and stuff like that. But I really, really enjoyed my time in Toronto. I thought it was, and I kind of, I tried to re-sign with them when my contract was up, and they wanted to go in a different direction. But, I really enjoy that because hockey matters. And when you play well and when you win, it's that much more fun, right? But it's right that when things are not going well, you're better off in a smaller market where nobody knows who you are. And even though in Anaheim, there was, hockey grew at a good pace, and by the time we won the Stanley Cup there and stuff like that, people knew who we were a lot, and it wasn't rare for me to be recognized if I go to the mall and stuff like that, but. It was not at the same pace as Toronto, that's for sure.
No, and you guys had so much star power there on the Anaheim team. But listen, you were in Calgary, though, for a little bit, though, right? And you're playing for Brian Sutter. Yeah. Like, what'd you think of Brian? Like, we've had him on before, too. Like, how was that as a young goalie? And, like, were you surprised that you're the 13th overall pick. You're in Calgary. you're in Hartford. Now you're with your second team there in Calgary. Like, were you thinking that you were going to last there for a long time? Because it wasn't until your third team that you were able to really establish yourself as a star NHL goaltender. Like, what were your thoughts about your time in Calgary? Did you enjoy that?
Well, I enjoyed it. Calgary is a great city, and I enjoyed my time in St. John, New Brunswick. It was that's where I spent most of the time in the AHL. And as I said earlier, I needed time to grow, and figure out what it was like to be a pro. And I fell a couple of times, like you're in the AHL, and it's hard sometimes to stay disciplined and stuff like that. But I learned from that quite a bit. And the thing I must say about Calgary in those days is they didn't spend any money on development. Like, we had my second year there in the AHL, we had one coach. It was Rick Vive, and that was it. We had no goalie coach, we had no defenseman coach, we had nobody else helping him. We had one guy behind the bench, and that was it. And it's just kind of ridiculous. They were the worst team in the NHL at that point, and we had the best team in the AHL because they had so many good picks and first-round picks and stuff like that. We went to the Calder Cup final my first year. They won the year after I left St. John. They won the Calder Cup. Like, they had like such a good group of young guys, but they didn't spend any money into developing them. And it was just mind-boggling. And I got a lot of bad habits playing for Calgary. And by the time I left there, my third year, I was up and down quite a bit. And by the time I left there, I lost, I think, my last 17 games in the AHL. And I didn't finish probably 10 of those games. Wow. I couldn't stop a beach ball. My career was going nowhere. Like, I had lost all of my, confidence and all of them. I didn't want to play hockey at that point. That was terrible. And so it was a relief when they traded me. And it was, the day that they traded me, my life changed forever. It really made a big difference in my life. And that day, it was the first day of Craig Button on the job as the GM of the Calgary Flames, and he traded me, and he bought back Marty St. Louis. So it was probably a tough day for him later because he traded two Conn Smythe players. So that was
wow, God. So he traded Marty St. Louis. Like, were you playing?
He bought him out. He bought him out that day. Yeah. Yeah,
wow. Yeah, we had Marty
and
on.
That's when Marty signed with Tampa Bay.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Wow.
No, we had Marty on, man, too, and
right. And Rick Vive,
and Rick Vive too. So it was interesting.
Rick, and you know what? Like, to Rick's defense, like he tried his best, but at some point you have probably 25 young men, like between 20 and 25, and you're by yourself taking care of those guys. It's an impossible job.
Yeah.
You need help.
Why were they cheap?
You should.
Why were they cheap? And does everybody know? Was everybody like, what are we doing here? Like, everybody else is doing certain things, even some of the smaller markets and stuff like that. Like, were you like, we're behind the curb here a little bit?
Well, I think it was in those days at the end of the 90s, mid-90s to the end of the 90s. It was those days that the Quebec Nordics move, and the Canadian dollar wasn't like very strong, I believe, in those days, right? And the Flames weren't playing well. They were last in the league, and they weren't drawing well too. Like, they were having attendance issues and stuff like that. So they weren't making a ton of money. I think probably losing money at this point, and I think that's why they were being a little cheap. I would assume, but I don't know if they meant to be cheap. They just didn't put any money into developing the players. I to this day, I still don't have the answer. I don't know why they did it that way. But to go 3 years, without a goalie coach, when you're 20 years old and you need to develop, I think, to me, was a mistake by them. And it's not something that you would see today. Like, every team have a goalie coach in the NHL. They have them in the AHL, and they make sure that they develop the goalies, and it should be the same with your defensemen, and it should be the same with your forwards, and you should have skill coach, you should have nutritionists, and you should have a strength coach. They do that our days, but in those days it was not the way it went, and it was rough. And I was glad that I got traded because, as I said, it really changed my life the day I got traded.
Yeah, I remember the Blues didn't have a goalie coach in the early 2000s. Like, Brent Johnson was the goalie here. I remember asking Larry Plow, I'm like, Larry, how come you don't have a goalie coach? He's like, we do have one, but like he didn't like live in St. Louis. He'd watch the games on TV. And then Brent Johnson or whoever the goalie was, like would have to like talk to him on the phone afterwards.
So what am I supposed to do?
And I'm like, it's just not the same as like, they would never do that today. I mean, every team will always have
Devils
a goalie
did in the
coach,
early
man.
2000s.
I don't know how they were able to deal with that. But what changed for you in Anaheim? Like what clicked for you where all of a sudden you just began to establish yourself, into becoming a household name?
Well, for me, the working was never a problem. I always, I was a hard worker. I liked practicing. I really challenged every player to score on me, and it was always fun for me to try to stop them and, rub it in their face if I did make a save and stuff like that, and get mad if they scored. But, when I got traded to Anaheim, they had a goalie coach there. They had François Allaire, which changed my life. I grew up idolizing Patrick Roy and watching the Canadian, and François Allaire was their goalie coach, and I went to his hockey school when I was a kid, and I had his brother Benoit, who's a goalie coach now and with the Rangers. He's been there for over 20 years now, and I had him at my first year in junior, so. I knew what they were all about. I knew what kind of coaching they did, and I just needed to go back to basic and stuff like that. And the day I got traded, he called me right away. François called me, and he lives about 10 minutes away from my house. He's like, I'd like to meet with you tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, good, perfect. And then I went to his house. Right away we started doing video. So we're July 2nd at this point. So he shows me a video. He's like, this is how I want you to play, and he's showing me videos of good stuff and bad stuff. It's like, why I don't want you to do this, and this is all I want you to play it, and stuff like that. And I got out of there, and it's like seeing the light for the first time. I was like, wow, this is so easy. Why wasn't I playing like this right away? And so it changed my life. It really, really changed my life. And from the week after that, I started working with him on ice already, and changed all the way. All I was wearing my equipment, all I was preparing for the game, or was playing the game, and it really, really gave me a lot of confidence. And I lost all these games at the end of that year in the AHL, and I started with the Cincinnati Mighty Ducks, and I won my first 6-7 games, and it was just it really, really gave me a lot of confidence.
Yeah, see, what is it about, like, he's widely regarded as one of the greatest, if not the greatest goaltending coach of all time. Like, you had him at every stop, it seems like, from Anaheim to Toronto to Colorado. And I think he may still be working with the Florida Panthers now. But like, how responsible is he for like the butterfly style that we always hear about with goaltenders? Like, did he develop that? Like, why is he so highly regarded? Like, what makes him such a great goaltending coach?
Well, he was ahead of his time. 25, 30 years ago. Like, he was way, way, way ahead of his time. He studied to become a goalie coach. This is what he wanted to do. He went to the university to become, to understand how the body worked and stuff like that. And he really has a passion for it. And he really studied, like, he's always thinking about something new, about, how to improve the game. And, I think what we mistake what he did, he didn't invent the butterfly style, like the Jacques Plante played the butterfly style. That's way before his time. But what Frankie changed is how you move in the net. To be, I think in the days, the goalies didn't really move. Like, they just, rely on the reflexes to make saves. And but what he changed with Patrick is the way that he would get in front of the shot. And if you're between the shot and the net at all time, between the puck and the net, you always have a better chance of making the save. You improve your odds. So it's really just about the movement of the game, the way the goalie moves. And still today, every goalie, they do exactly what François was teaching 30 years ago. And it was brand new then. So any T pushes, parallel pushes, any butterfly recovery and stuff like that, getting up from one leg. So if your rebound is on your left, you got to get up from your right leg. If your rebound is on on your right, you get up from your left legs. In those days, nobody were doing that. So it really, really improved the game. And to this day, he still would be probably the best goalie coach in the NHL, if you ask me.
Well, what about a guy like Dominic Hasek, who's so he's just all over the place? Like, what would you, if you watched him growing up, you're like, oh, I want to be like him. He's so entertaining. But in reality, it's like you probably don't want to coach the youngins to do what Dominic Hasek does because he's so unique. Like, what's the difference?
It's very unique. It's very unique to him. And what Dominic Hasek was good at is you couldn't score on him on the first shot, on the direct shot. Like it was almost impossible. You'd watch him in practice, and I'd always like to go watch the other goalie practice if it was like Patrick Roy, Marty Brodeur, and I'm always interested in see what kind of effort they put in and what technique they work on. And Hasek and Brodeur, Brodeur, you couldn't score on him in practice. Like, it was just any direct shot, the guy would come in and nobody would even come close. So they were the best at making the first save, and but with Hasek, you couldn't really play like him. Because first of all, if I take me, for example, I'm not as good as he is. So I have to have a better technique. I have to have a technique that's flawless to help me. Because if I play like he does, I'm just going to get lit up every night. So I'm not athletic enough. I'm not agile enough, and I don't have that unique talent of making saves. That's just a talent that you're born with, like scoring goals. Making a save is natural more to some guys than others. So if you take the best player, the best goalie that's ever played, they were just better at making a save all naturally. But then you add technique to that and stuff like that. It helps you out. And I needed to have a flawless technique because I'm really not I don't have above average reflexes. I don't have above average, abilities, like physical abilities and stuff like that. Like I'm talking about, if you compare to other NHL player, I'm not very athletic. I can't play any other sports. It's difficult for me. So I needed to have a very, above average technique it could help me out in difficult times.
I get you.
And listen, man, that 2002-2003 season, the playoffs, everyone obviously it was historic what you did. You win the Conn Smythe, your team loses in the final, but you still get the Conn Smythe. It's just crazy. But a couple of games though, man. I think the first game of the playoffs that year, a triple overtime game against Detroit, and you make 63 saves. And later in the playoffs against Dallas, a 5 overtime game, you made fewer saves in that 5 overtime game than you did in the triple overtime game. But what's the story about you keeping an IV in your arm, right? Like during the game, during overtime, just to keep yourself hydrated? Because I know you dealt with some dehydration issues, which we can talk about. But did you really play with the IV, with the needle in your arm? Explain that.
Yeah, I kept I guess when they put the needle in your arm, then there's I don't know in English what the name is, but I think it's a catheter or something. It's just a soft tube, right? And then you connect the IV to it. So I'm so the problem, what happened in Dallas, where usually when you go to the hospital, you get an IV. It's the nurse that pokes you, and they know how to do that. Mm-hmm. Doctors don't have a clue, right? And so our team doctor, that in the playoff, they follow you everywhere and stuff like that, and he didn't have a clue where my veins were. He had a general idea. He's probably done it in school, but so he was poking me everywhere. I had blood all over my equipment. So I'm just he was about to remove it. I'm like, can you just leave it there? And it didn't bother me. You can still move your arm and under your equipment with the adrenaline, you don't really feel that. So he's like, yeah. You probably could, yeah. So he just taped it there and was just, okay, let's go. And then after each period, each overtime period, he was ready. He had the bag already hanging over my stall, and he would just connect it to the thing, and then he'd put a blood pressure pump on it so he would go in faster. And you could just feel it going right through your body. And it was just such a relief, especially in a city like Dallas where it's so hot and humid in the playoffs. So it was, but for me, I needed that. And as I got older and more mature, like I knew that I had, dehydration issues. I was, for me, a regular game, a normal game was always between 8 to 12 pound loss, right, of water weight. So it was, and the most I've ever had was 19 in a game. So so it was, it was, and in the playoffs, you got to be ready to play for, many periods. So, and I didn't want it to be a distraction. I just, before the playoffs would start, I'd go see the doctor. I'm like, listen, just be ready. If we go to overtime, we do it, and we don't ask questions. We just put the IV in, and it's just going to help me get through the game, right? And I didn't want to have to get off the ice because I'm dehydrated, while you're in the middle of the third period of overtime. So you got to be able to, you got to do whatever you got to do. And it was, but I mean, that 5-period overtime game in Dallas was a nightmare. I won't lie to you. It was like one of the hardest games I've ever played. That's for sure.
Well, can't there be an easier way though? Like if you look back on that, like, no, I could have just like drank Pedialyte or something before the game. Like you look back on like, damn, I could have just drank more water and been more hydrated. Is there something that you could have done without putting a needle in your vein while playing?
It's very difficult, and I've done a lot of research on it. It started in Calgary. It was in the minors that I'd lost 19 pounds and ended up at the hospital while playing for the St. John Flames. And I ended up doing testing at the University of Calgary and stuff like that. And they came up with an idea that's to drink through a straw, so you would take less hair in your stomach, while you're drinking, and that will help you drinking more, right? But then, I that wasn't enough. I took some pills that would help, with the salt, like it's just salt pills and stuff like that for dehydration. So I took a lot of that. I made sure not to drink alcohol like the night before and stuff like that, drinking a lot of water. But even that wasn't enough. So I ended up going to the Gatorade Institute in Ohio, I think it is, and near Chicago. And I did some tests there. And the test, what they told me is I was losing about 3 liters of liquid an hour as I was working out or playing. So that I had to replenish that. But it's hard. Like I don't know if you ever tried to drink while doing exercise 3 liters of liquid. It's not easy. So it takes a lot of practice, and you have to drink the right stuff. Water alone isn't enough, because while you're sweating, you're losing a lot of salt and calciums and stuff, and all the stuff, that potassium, so you need to replenish that. So obviously they told me to drink more Gatorade. So and I ended up doing that, and that helped me a ton, honestly. Like I would drink on a game day about 20 bottles of Gatorade, just pure Gatorade, that day, right? Just to make sure that, probably 7 or 8 before the games, all throughout the day, and then probably 7 or 8 during the games, and 3 or 4 before bedtime. And that was my regimen for the last, 7, 8 years I played. Is just ton of Gatorade with all the sugars. It was horrible. At some days, horrible. But it really helped me. Instead of losing 8 to 12 pounds a game, I would be probably closer to 2 to 4 pounds. So imagine how much better you feel after that. And the next day, the recovery is so much easier. So it really, really helped me. My trip to the Gatorade Institute really changed how I felt. And it really helped me with injuries as well.
I hope they gave you an endorsement deal, too.
Well, they didn't have the Gatorade Zero back in the day either.
Yeah, I mean, gee,
it's a lot of Gatorade. And in the summertime, because the teams, they're allowed so many Gatorades per year, right? It's a sponsor from the league. So they would send a truckload of Gatorade to my house. So I could, in the summer, I would work out and I would have all my Gatorade available here. So I would have a pallet or 2 of Gatorade delivered to my house.
Yeah, Korea's like, hey, how come we have no more fucking Gatorade left in the locker room? It's like,
I need bands and Gatorade now.
Hey, man, didn't they have to create like a specific type of straw though for you to drink like out of during the game? Like tell me about that.
Well, we just, and if you see Carey Price, he does the same thing. And it's just, honestly, it was helpful because the water or the Gatorade didn't get all over your equipment. So it just, was less messy. But all we did is we use a tube, like it's plumbing, flexible tube, and we'd cut the bottle of Gatorade, the top, and we'd just stick it in, use some tape to leave it in place. So it wasn't high tech or anything like that, but that worked quite a bit for me because I was able to drink a lot more. I would drink, those green bottles that you see on the bench. I probably would drink 2 of those a period, of Gatorade just to make sure. And it was like some days your stomach just works better than others, but the days that you felt full or whatever, like it was really hard to drink all that liquid and play in the same time. But I had to. It was a must for me.
Did you ever have like a panic situation, like where you became, dehydrated during the course of a game, like, and it got really, really nasty? Did that ever happen or no?
Oh yeah, well, the game two times I really got scared. The one time the time I lost 19 pounds, I was coming back from an injury I was in the minors in Calgary. We didn't have a strength coach. I was probably not in the best shape I could have been. Mm-hmm. And we ended up playing in Hamilton, and it was just warm in the building. It was humid and disgusting. We just got lit up that game, and I came back from the game and started getting sick, and every muscle in my body just started cramping up. From my fingers to my arms, my legs, and I was afraid that it would just go to my heart. Right? It's just like one of those that really, really scary situation. And I ended up spending a few days at the hospital because it was, I was really severely dehydrated. And then the other time I wasn't necessarily scary. There was that 5-period game in Dallas. I wasn't scared, like necessarily scared for my life or anything like that, but it was after each period I would take my upper body off and try to cool off and cool down a bit, and I would do the IV as well, right? But when I went to put back my equipment on to go into the 5th overtime, my hands and my arms started cramping, so I couldn't put my equipment on. So I went to talk to the trainer to come help me, and then I couldn't speak because my jaw was cramping up too. So I'm like tapping on. It was Ilya Bzgalov that was playing with me at the time, and I'm like tapping. I'm like, get ready, and he was as white as a sheet when he looked at me because nobody wants to go in. Yes,
we had him on too. He's probably like he probably had like a solution for you. He's like, you should try this.
Yeah. Try this, yeah. He probably had something, but he was like probably had a couple of slices of pizzas, like and stuff like that. I mean, last thing you want to do, and like when you're the backup, is going into a game like that. But anyway, luckily we ended up scoring in the first 30 seconds of that period, and so it was. I was very thankful for that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's just crazy. I mean, that whole playoff run, and then you get to the final. I know we want to ask you about the Korea hit, when Scott Stevens just lays into Korea and like he's motionless on the ice, and then he comes back and
we love Paulie. I play with him. We all know his pregame stuff and all that, and how good of a guy he is. But man, oh man, that was crazy.
Oh, that was crazy, and I feel for him because he's such a nice person, and it's a terrible thing that happened in his career. All these, hit to the head, and it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't have happened. I know the hockey was different then, but it was just too easy to end somebody's career and stuff like that. It was dirty and it was uncalled for. And what people, I don't know, people that follow the Ducks probably know that by now, but a lot of people don't know is he came back that game and scored that goal. I don't know if you remember the slapper.
Oh yeah.
Top glove against Marty Brodeur. And I have never heard a ring that loud in my life. Like the people just went nuts. In the under center, it was like, it was such an amazing moment. Everybody was so scared when they saw him hurt, but he doesn't remember any of it. Doesn't remember scoring the goal. Doesn't remember playing the rest of the game. And what's even amazing is that was Game 6 of the Stanley Cup final. We went Game 7 in New Jersey. He does not remember playing that game either.
Oh God!
This is crazy.
Did you think that was a bad hit?
Yeah, it was a bad hit. I mean, it was probably somewhat legal at the time, But today, I mean, I don't think that you'd see that again. And I very believe that we should ban all those middle center ice hit. I've never been hit like that. I don't know what it's like, but it seems to me that they're and I know they're part of the game, and it's like we don't want to, we like the physicality of the game, but I also like the star player being the star player, the fast guy being fast, and I don't know that it's healthy that anybody gets hit at full speed like that in the middle ice, and I didn't like them then, and I don't like them today even less, and I think we should ban those hits, but it's probably not for me to decide, but it's I find them dangerous.
Well, we all know Jiggy. If that happens in today's guy, he's not even seeing the ice for who knows how long.
They did
they
ban
keep
those
him
hits,
off the ice.
Those hits ain't happening anymore.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, you still see some ice hits, but nothing like that.
Yes, no, exactly, and like you said, Paul wouldn't have played. He wouldn't have come back, and he wouldn't have played and we would have been short our best player. But in reality, we were short our best player because he wasn't himself. Obviously, in Game 7, doesn't remember playing it. So how can you be yourself? And we ended up losing that game 3-0. We had no life. That hit still affected our team in that game. And it was unfortunate, but anyway, it's the way the game went in those days. So you gotta, I guess, accept it now. But it was dirty.
What do you mean it still affected? Because he came back and scored. And you guys won the game. So how did it carry over into Game 7?
Well, because we probably would have won Game 6 anyway. Like he ended up scoring, I think, the 5th goal.
Okay.
But we were ahead. We won 5-2, I think, if I remember well. But then you go to New Jersey, and they had such a good defense and stuff like that, and you play minus your best player, really, because he's not necessarily, even though he's there, he's not there mentally and ready to play. And we ended up losing that game 3-0. We didn't generate anything offensively, and it was, if you go in and you have Paul Kariya playing his best, who knows what can happen? Maybe we scored the first goal. Maybe the game has a different pace. You know what I mean? But it definitely changed a bit how the game went. I'm not saying that we would have won. I don't know.
I got you.
Probably the result probably would have been the same. But it affected us a little bit for sure.
Yeah, even when you go in the locker room and your star guy's not there and everybody kind of sees it, it's kind of deflating a little bit. It's just he got robbed.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's deflating. Hey, how was Oatsy? Oatsy coached me in Jersey. He played in St. Louis. Andy and I are from St. Louis, so we know him quite well. We've had him on the podcast. He hates people that go off sides. Like, how was he in the locker room? Did he run the show? Was he a quiet guy? Like, what's your take on Oatsy?
Well, I love playing with him. I thought he was a great human being, very nice, very good to everybody. An amazing hockey player, like just a hell of a passer with the worst stick too, like worst. He had the worst, smallest blade ever. I don't know why he could play hockey with that, but but he was he was a great addition for us. They went to get him to try to create a duo with Paul, and ended up working pretty well. And I didn't play. I think I only played with him 1 year, but it was obviously a good year, and he had so much fun. He had fun. If I'm not mistaken, he never won the cup. So for him, it was a great going all the way to Game 7. He was having the time of his life, and it really showed. Like he was just a fun guy to be around.
Okay, so you win the Conn Smythe. Like, I'm just curious, what's that like? Like when you lose the game, like you obviously you lose the Stanley Cup final, and then they call you back out. Like, were you like shocked? Were you surprised? I mean, everyone knew if Anaheim wins Game 7, you're winning the Conn Smythe. It was incredible how you performed at the playoffs. But when you hear your name called and they tell you to go out there and get the trophy, you don't know what to do in the picture there with the commissioner. Do I smile? Do I look pissed off? It had to be a little bit awkward. Like, explain that to us.
It was very awkward, and they came to see me right away on the ice. So I never left the ice, to come back. I just waited there while I watched them celebrate, and it was like, all right, this is like an awkward moment. And none of my teammates knew, right? They all left. They all, we shook hands with them, and then they went in the room. But I had to wait until they named me, right? That's what the league asked me. So I'm like, all right, this is like not a good moment. And you play the game, and you guys know when you play the game, it's a team game, right? And you couldn't really care less about an individual award. What you want is the Stanley Cup. This is what you play for, and this is what you dreamt for. Like when you played all those time I went at the park in the winter and played like outdoor or whatever, and on the street with my buddies, we always played for the Stanley Cup. This is what you dream to win. So, today I'm really proud of that, that I won the Conn Smythe. It's a great achievement, obviously probably the best I've ever played in my career. But I didn't want that day, that's not what I played for that day. I would have much rather somebody else win it and we got the cup, and it would have been a lot more fun. And it's not like you can come in the room with the Conn Smythe. Hey, look, guys, I won the Conn Smythe.
Oh my God, I know.
Hi, everyone.
What does everybody say? Hey, guys, I got this huge
I did
trophy.
my part.
So, and I don't know if you guys remember the old rink in New Jersey there.
Oh yeah.
It was so bad, right? And there was this old table that the guys would do their sticks on. So I came out of the ice and I had the Conn Smythe in my hands, and there's nobody around. Like the trainers are not there, nobody's there. So I just kind of deposited the Conn Smythe on that table that was just outside the dressing room, and I went in the room, and nobody knew what was going on, right? So I just kind of, and some guys are crying, everybody's got their heads down, and so it took probably a good half hour before some of the guys started realizing that, I had won the Conn Smythe. But I would have today, I'd gladly exchange it for a second Stanley Cup. No doubt.
Yeah. Well, you got the cup a few years later.
Dude.
And listen, Cam and I have had so many guys on from your cup winning team, including your coach and general manager. I mean, one of the best teams to win. I mean, just full of personality. Yeah. And you guys were so damn good.
Tough.
Like when you guys got Pronger there prior to this, like, did you know coming into the year, like, hey, listen, we've got a team that can get this done? Like, did you know that? Was that confidence there?
Yes, we did. We had a real good confidence. We'd lost against Chris Pronger like the year before in the conference final, Edmonton, and he was against Edmonton, and he was so intimidating. He has such a big presence in that series that I couldn't believe that we were able to add him to a lineup. It was just like, wow, this is a great addition. So we all knew, and with Corey Perry and Ryan Getzlaf being a little older, we knew that we had a lot more depth in our team. So right from the get-go, we had a lot of confidence. We started the season on fire. I think we won 17 games without a loss, a regulation time loss. So that was like, we knew we had a good team, and that it was our shot at the cup. And we obviously didn't disappoint that year, but we could play any type of style. Like that was the best part about that team. You couldn't intimidate us because we were intimidating. So teams that wanted to do that, they had to run for their money. And then we had tons of skills. So if you wanted to play a skill game, we could match that up anytime. We could play a good defensive game because we, with Samuel Paulson on the third line, Rob Niedermayer, and Travis Moore, and they could match up against any team as far as defensive play and winning face-off and grinding, and we were big and strong. Like we just had that team that was really complete, and obviously with the defensive guys that we had, when you have Niedermayer and Pronger on the same team. As a goalie, it makes your life much easier, believe me.
Oh,
so
my God.
You have a good 50, 55 minutes where you have, two Hall of Famer on the ice, or one at a time at least, and it makes your life much easier, that's for sure.
Somebody turned the puck over in the neutral zone, and Niedermayer takes 2 strides and gets back and catches it and then takes it down the other. And like that's kind of nice as a goalie to see that, right? I mean, my God.
Yeah.
He never got tired, man. It's so weird.
Never.
Hey, let me ask you about...
Like sometimes he'd have like a 5-minute shift, and he's still because he would get caught in his zone and stuff like that, and he'd be like at the end of a power play where he'd spend the 2 minutes, and he still would not be tired. I'm like, how can you not be tired? And he wouldn't sweat. That was the most frustrating
Meanwhile, you're losing 25 pounds.
I'm dying. Like, I'm sweating like a madman. He has this little spot on his chest. And that's it. That's after every game.
Isn't that weird? That kind of pisses you off a little bit,
his
too.
His hair is perfect.
His hair is perfect. He just says the right thing. Like, he doesn't do anything wrong. Hey, what about...
Absolutely pisses me off.
What about Getzlaf and Perry? They're young kids in the locker room. They're starting to dominate a little bit. Like, did anybody in the locker room have to be like, hey, you two, settle down? Or like Perry, we've had both of them. We know the guys, but like, did Prong have to step? Well, maybe not Prongs, but even before then, like, did they become a little too much? Like at times where you have to kind of put them in their place a little bit.
First of all, you don't have a NHL killer like they did without being like real leaders and stuff like that. So I don't think they never got carried away, like as far as being out of place in the dressing room and stuff like that. But I remember at the beginning of the year that year, we were on a road trip in Boston, and they ended up being late for the bus and stuff like that for the morning skate, and it really pissed off the management and coaching, and they had their tickets to Cincinnati, or I think we were still in Cincinnati then. They were on their way to the minors, like there was no doubt, and it was Dienemeyer and Prongs that stepped up and went to see the management and say that this is not happening. These guys are staying here, and we need them, and we'll take care of them. So it was actually, I think, mostly Chris that after that took care of them, make sure that they were on time, that they were disciplined, they stayed on task, just like any young player need to be. You need to learn it and figure it out. But they had a lot of help, and Chris Pronger was really tough on young players, right? But he kept them accountable. He kept them, honest. And I think for the most part, most young players that played with Chris Pronger would be thankful today because it really showed them what it's like to be a pro.
Yeah,
he owned Andy too in the locker room too. Andy would try to interview him, and then Prongs would send him to the corner and have him sit down and time out in front of everybody.
He's funny, man. He's the best, though. He's
sounds like him.
He's hilarious.
Go to timeout.
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, you know what? People forget, like, you would go, like, crazy sometimes, too, Jiggy. And I seen you go a little nutty. Like Ryan Smith, the year before that, right, when Pronger's playing in Edmonton, and, like, Ryan Smith is, like, knocking your stick, and you just go absolutely
oh my gosh.
You went ballistic. You went crazy. You go after him. You're face washing him with your glove and whatever.
Yeah,
listen, sometimes you got to go a little berserk, don't you?
Sometimes you got to show a little emotion, and you got to sometimes reel it in too. But Smitty would find a way to get under my skin every time, and I knew before the game. I'd talk to myself. I'm like, let him be. Like, it's Smitty. He's going to try to get under your skin, and but he would always do something to piss me off. And the time he touched my stick, I just went berserk. It was like, I couldn't believe the referee didn't see it. I'm like, that's it. I'm done, and it was just such a poor way to react. And it's funny because my oldest son is 15 now and he's a goalie, and I just see myself in him sometimes when he reacts, and I'm like, you cannot do that. You can't do that. And he's like, well, you did it. I saw it on YouTube. I'm like, yes, I know, but it's not the same. It's never the same when it's you. But,
exactly.
So anyway, but it's I'm a fiery guy. I like I get emotional in games, and it happened this year, like in Montreal, where Samuel Montembeault got hit, and there was no reaction from the players. Like half the guys that were on the ice pretended that nothing happened because they didn't want to get into a fight or a squirm and stuff. And I'm like, I would have been there. Like I wouldn't have accepted that. I would have gone in the corner and tried to create something. I mean, anyway, the team's not winning, so might as well try to create some emotion and fired up something. So I was, I didn't mind doing stuff like that. Yes.
Yeah, and I saw some of your fights in the American Hockey League too. Just a crazy line brawl. Like Eric Goddard was involved in some of these. I mean, it was just
he throws from downtown.
One of the craziest line brawls you're going to find. And who'd you fight? Was it? I don't. Did the guy ever make it to the National Hockey League? Gauthier?
I think he did. I think he played a few games, and I don't remember. My son would tell me because he's seen it. But and it was me that started it. I called him up. I'm like, hey, come on, let's go. And then when he first came like closer to me, I'm like, holy shit, this guy's big. I'm like, okay, I'm in trouble.
Oh yeah, Gauthier or something.
Gauthier.
Yeah. Like you guys went at it.
Yeah.
Hey, what'd you think of Babcock as a coach? He was the coach in 03. Then you had Randy Carlisle in 07. We've had both of those guys on too. But I want to start with Babcock. Like, how was he for like a goalie? I'm curious, like what you like out of a head coach. You like him to leave you alone, like. And how was your relationship with Babs?
Well, I like a head coach that's patient, that will let you try to figure it out. Sometimes, you give up 2 early goals and stuff, like not to panic. I got to fight for it. I got to figure out a way to get myself out of it, or figure out a way to a game is 60 minutes. So sometimes coaches get impatient and they don't have the start day what they're looking for, and that really got me, when that happens. But, I really enjoyed Babs. Babs was like, super prepared. Like he was, always looking for new ways and new things. He was researching the game a lot. And, I had him early on in my career. Like, so I had him in the minors in Cincinnati, and then he graduated like the year after I started with the Ducks. And so, I think the Babs I got wasn't probably the same Babs that the Leafs got,
Yeah.
So, but I enjoyed him. I like that he knew all the Weiss's name, the kids' name in the Weiss room. He knew your family, your dads, and stuff like that. Like he went out of his way to really be friendly with people outside the ice. So this is the Babs I remember, and I really enjoyed that out of him. And I enjoyed to this day, and it's not, and with my other coach, because I had a lot of great coach, but I thought Baz was probably the better coach that I had, and the most prepared, and the guy that would adjust the quickest on the bench and stuff like that.
Yeah, I get the sense that like the guys didn't really love Randy Carlisle. Like even though you guys won the cup with him as the head coach, I just didn't get the same. I just didn't get that vibe, from some of the guys we've had on, that there was like, I'm sure they respect him and whatever, but you know what I'm saying? Like, did you like Carlisle? You guys get along pretty well?
Yeah, I had my moments with Randy, and he'd probably be the first one to tell you that. But it's, I think the one thing with Randy is he's a hell of a coach. He's a really good coach. He knows the game well. He's also well prepared and stuff like that. But he's more of an old school type of guy, an old school approach. So that's the part I didn't like as much. I think there's a human side to hockey that we tend to always forget, and the human side is really important. If the human side of the player is wrong, then his game is going to be wrong, and you got to make sure that and obviously it's hard as a coach. You can't control how everybody lives their life and what's going on at home and stuff like that, but you probably have to make an effort to know and see what happens, because it might give you an answer on how to deal with a player and what to expect out of him. If the guy's going through a hard time, then there might be something that you can do or say as a coach. So that's the side. He's an old school type of coach, and you can't. We talked about Brian Sutter earlier in Calgary. That's also an old school type of coach, and that's why I think you're not going to see as many of those guys anymore, and you're going to see more like guys like Marty St. Louis, where they really try to get to know their player and try to work with them in a more personalized, personal way.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I get that, man.
I mean, and you see the players, how they react to some of these, especially the guys that had the great careers and the long careers, man. I mean, if these guys are going to want to get into coaching, they're certainly going to have that option to do so. You mentioned your son, your 15-year-old. Is that Max? Is he the one who was born with just one eye? Right? I mean, how's he doing now?
That's right.
He's been able to have a normal upbringing and enjoy the game of hockey and play goal with just one eye. Explain how he gets through that.
Yeah, no, yesterday he gave up a brutal goal, but beside that, he's been great. But he's been good. Like I can't believe that he can do what he's doing. He's playing goalie at an elite level. and he's, finds a way to do it. And every once in a while, you see like a play that might, okay, that might be because of his eye, but he's found a way to adjust. We know that on his right side he has a much bigger blind side, so he's got to turn his head a little bit more. He's got to, play it a little differently than a regular goalie. But otherwise, like if you're just coming into a game and you watch him play, you would never know that this is his condition. And so it's been pretty amazing. He's a big kid. He's 6'2", 195 pounds at 15. Like, he's just huge. So he takes a lot of room in net, and that's a good thing for a goalie.
Yeah. So you say he's playing at like an elite level. Like, what's he playing AAA hockey? And there's no restrictions or anything like that. Like, if you can't see out of one eye, because I remember, like, maybe if you're an out skater. Years ago, I was working in the minor leagues, and there was a player who had only one eye, Alex Beauregard, if you ever knew that name.
Yes.
Really good minor league player. I mean, great player. And apparently, like, he wasn't eligible to play in the National Hockey League.
For the Thrashers.
Yeah, he played for the Thrashers. Yeah.
Thrashers.
Yeah.
Yep.
He wasn't eligible to play in the National Hockey League because he couldn't see out of both eyes. Is there anything like that for a goaltender, or no, as far as you know?
I think there is. I think it's an insurance reason. You can insure a player that probably has one eye, but I told my son, I'm like, and he's the one that I never told him that rule, because he has a dream of being an NHL player, and and you don't want to, as a parent, you never want to take that away from them. I knew the rule, but I never told him. And one day he came up, like, I can play in the NHL. That's bullshit. I'm like, well, Max, I'm like, if they really like you and you're good enough, somebody will find a way to make you play.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm like, don't worry about this right now. And there's, many ways to the NHL. There's, the players. You idolize the players, but there's coaching, there's management, there's PR, there's, the Twitter account that somebody has to take care of. There's all kinds of ways that you can be in the NHL. So just don't worry about what's going to happen then, and just have fun now and try to go as far as you can. And I mean, it could be Europe. You could go, to Europe. You could play in the AHL. You could play in the East Coast League. I don't care. Whatever you're going to do, it's going to be fantastic, and it's going to be really almost a miracle. Like, it's hard to do what you do on, with two eyes. Imagine, and then you do it with one eye. Like, It's pretty amazing. So don't worry about the results, and just try to have fun with it all.
That's incredible.
And he's got 4 eyes, and he still didn't make it.
Hey, listen, I love how you instilled the confidence, though, in him, man. There's something to be said for that, for this kid to be achieving and having success like he's having. So congrats to you and Max, man, and all you guys, for how you've handled that situation.
Thank you. Yeah. We're going to the final of his league next weekend, so we're got a two-game final, and so it should be fun. We're playing a real good team, so it should be a good challenge for him. And it's a long season, believe me, though.
Hey, listen, your last game, I think was it the last game of your career? Were you in Anaheim? It was like the last time you went to Anaheim, and it was Solani's last game of his career.
Lord. And
he's doing his lap around the ice, and all of a sudden he grabs you. And you guys are doing a lap together, and like you're in a Colorado Avalanche jersey, but you're in Anaheim. All the fans love you, of course. Cup winner, Conn Smythe winner, all of that. And honestly, I almost brought a tear to my eye watching that video today, Jean-Sébastien. Like, what was that moment like for you?
Well, that was a great moment, and Teemu Selanne is. You guys have met Teemu, and no doubt he's the nicest person ever, right? And that was his day. That was his last regular season game at home, and people were there to see him and stuff like that. And I wasn't supposed to play that game. We were still fighting for a playoff position. We were in the playoff, but we were fighting for home ice and stuff like that. And there was like 3 games that were being played, and all 3 games had to go a certain way for me to play. And I'm like, there's no way those 3 games are going to happen. So I went to dinner like with my, next door neighbor. Like when I live in Anaheim, we had wine. My wife was there. With it's a complete. I never I'd be very serious the day before a game, and there was like zero serious. I was like, not a chance I'm playing that game. And then sure thing, I get to the game, like I'm playing. I'm like, oh fuck, I can't play that game. I'm not ready for this. But it was like, what a way to finish. And the PR people from Anaheim had asked me, I'm like, Timo really wants to come and get you at the end of the game. He wants to do a lap with you. I'm like, I'm like, he meant so much more to the team than I did, right? And it's like, it's his moment. Just like I don't need that. Like I'm thankful. I'm saying thanks, but I don't, like, I'll be there and I'll just like be in awe what he did, right? And watch him. But sure thing, he wouldn't have it. So he came and got me, and it was, I'm glad he did. That was one of the most beautiful thing in my career. Like it was, I never, when you get traded, you never get a chance to say thank you to the fans and stuff like that. And it was a good way to, I couldn't think of a better way to finish my career. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, you're like a legend there.
No
I
shit,
think you're like
are.
the all-time leader in wins and shutouts
dude.
and all that to this day. At least, if not, you still are, right? I mean, come on now, help me out.
Yeah.
John Gibson hasn't passed you yet.
Okay. Gibson is close. Is getting close. So.
Yeah. Well, and
He's still the man.
Again,
you're still the man.
You're still the man. And again, the Conn Smythe. Listen, only 5 players in the history of the game have lost the Stanley Cup final and won the Conn Smythe. There's something to be said for that. And then you come back and win it a few years back with one of the best times we've seen win the one of the best teams we've seen win the cup.
Yep.
Coolest teams ever for sure.
Yep.
Hey, Ryan O'Reilly, you played with him in Colorado. Paul Stastny, all these young guys at the time. Nathan McKinnon was a rookie. This is one of the last things I have for you. Like, when you're there, like, did you see greatness for some of these guys? We'll start with McKinnon, and I want to hear about O'Reilly too. Like, just seeing him at a young age and kind of going on to see the career that he's had.
Well, Nate stayed at my house for the first year, and he's from Halifax, same hometown as my wife, and I'm like, it's what a good way to, I had my 3 young boys, so they enjoyed like having an older brother sort of thing, living with us. And he was so young. Like he was still 17 when he moved into our house. And, and he had so much, like the most talented player I've seen and played with, just pure talent. And I'm like, oh, this guy is going to be good, but he is good. Like, it's amazing how fast. And I was amazed with the plays he could make while skating, and at the speed that he would be skating, and no way I could make those plays. And most of the guys can make that, but he's above and beyond talent wise, and it was a great experience. It was good. He had so much to learn about becoming a pro and living out of his parents' house. Like, he always had been at home, so now he's living with a different family, and he had so much to learn. And, I'm glad that he's doing good now. And I think he had a bit of a rough go his, second, third season. I think it was not as good as he would have liked, but he had, like I say, he had to become a man, and you just don't become a man overnight. So it takes time. And, I'm glad now that he's, playing the way that the level that he should be playing. And I think it's just a question of time before he wins the cup. And as far as, Ryan O'Reilly, he was probably one of the hardest working guy I've played with. He was always the first one at the ring, the last one gone. He would spend hours and hours, like, working on his hands and working on his, on the ice, his shots and little details, and that's why he's so good today. Like, he's probably one of the best player at details, being at the right place, the way he'll take the puck away from you, the way that he'll protect his puck and stuff like that. And he would spend hours in the gym, like, just not heavy lifting, but like working on his core and working on balance and stuff like that. Like, really avant-garde, like, type of workout that he would do. And I think a lot of that comes from his dad, from what I heard. And I wasn't surprised when I saw that he had so much success, because he just put in so much time. And I think it was the same thing with him. He just had to learn to become a man as well. Like, I think that's probably the hardest thing for young guys when they come in, is you're just a young guy, you're playing in junior, or you're playing NCAA, and everything is done for you in life. But you got to figure out one day that you figure out, oh shit, I'm a man, and I got to act like a man, and I got to really carry myself like a man. And it takes time for some of those guys, that's for sure.
You still talk to McKinnon? You still keep in touch with him? And do you see Crosby in the summers too?
Yeah, no, I do. And I go see him at the rink. I bring my kids in the summer, and we go see him practice and stuff like that. They take a picture and, see, like, the kids like to go see him and meet him, and they, it's a big deal for them and stuff like that. So we text here and there, and the fact that he lives in Halifax helps too, because I'm there in the summer. So,
are all your kids goalies?
No. Okay. I made that mistake once, and then that's it.
Okay.
So my middle one actually plays basketball now, and for his school, and then my youngest is just Adam right now. We're not sure what position. I think he's going to be a defenseman, but he seems to think he's going to be a centerman. So we'll see.
Either way.
Hey, last thing for you. I just remember I wanted to ask you about this, like goaltending equipment, because remember you used to get a lot of shit back in the day. Jiggy, everyone would say, "Oh, your chest protector is way too big. Look how big he is in net." Even like you're having that run in 2003, people are like, "Oh, it's because his pads are so big." Yeah. And they made some adjustments, made some changes. Like, give us the lowdown on your pads. Like, were they bigger than the regulation size? Were you getting away with stuff that maybe you shouldn't be getting away with, or was this all a bunch of BS?
Well, it was a bunch of BS. But let me tell you what: if I was allowed 10 inches or 12 inches for my pads, I had 12 inches, and I didn't have like 1 millimeter less than 12. Mm-hmm. So I always went to the max what I was allowed, and when I told you guys earlier in the podcast is when I met Francois there, it really changed my life. It did, because we worked a ton on my equipment. We made sure that every piece of equipment that I wore fit the style of play I wanted to play. And we make sure, and we worked on it all the time. And Frankie has tons of ideas, like with equipment and what pads should be. And if the equipment is today what it is, he's one of the major reasons for, and he's come up with some crazy stuff. And what people need to realize is that I was checked almost every game, especially in the playoff. There's people there. There's the NHL as it was. I think it's still K Whitmore that does that. But every equipment that comes to you is sent to the NHL first, is checked and signed. And the trainer of your team, if he makes any kind of adjustment, it needs to be photographed, it needs to be approved. And if you get caught cheating, and they don't tell you when they'll check you, they just come and get you right off the ice, like, okay, you got to be checked. If you get caught cheating, the trainer gets a fine, and you get suspended. So, it's the last thing I want to do is be caught cheating and suspend. Like, it just destroy your name. And destroy your reputation. So yes, was I big? Yes, I played big. Remember earlier when I said that I played. Francois Allaire's biggest strength was positioning. Mm-hmm. That was my biggest strength. Is I made sure that I was always between the puck and the net. My anticipation was good, so I always could read the play in advance and. I would always make sure that I would beat the pass. So if there's a pass from player A to player B, I'm there before it gets to player B, and I'm set and I'm ready to make that save. And, you look big when you play like that. But as I say, my equipment was also to the limit of what I was allowed. And, I think that's just smart.
There you go.
No shit. It is.
All right. So there you go. Listen, I had to ask because, that was like a perception. People always threw that out there. You weren't the only one, man. There's a bunch of other goaltenders. People were saying, oh, his pads are too big. You still even hear that sometimes. Even
I liked your style, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I liked it.
Yes.
But I was really aggressive when I played. So, and my shoulders were like rolled up in front of me, and I don't know. I played I took it as a compliment when people say he looks big and he looks like he's cheating. That meant that I looked big in net and that I was, and I knew it deep down inside, like I didn't do anything wrong. I played with the rules and then within the rules, but I took it as a compliment. If they say that I look big, then I'm. That I probably am cheating. It's because I must be looking big in net and doing something right. So I always kind of took it as a compliment and took it with a grain of salt because, you can't really control that.
Yeah. All right, go snuggle up with that Conn Smythe and that Stanley Cup.
Go on your boat and go chill out, Sebastian. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm putting my boat on the water next week, so I'm going to go out next week.
Yeah. Cam, you don't know what he's
going to do. Winterized, Andy? I've had boats my whole life. Sit down, son. Hey, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah.
You've been great, dude.
You wouldn't believe it. Yeah, they're calling for 15 centimeters of snow tomorrow here in Montreal.
It's time to go back to Anaheim.
Keep the boat bubble wrapped.
Exactly.
Keep the boat bubble wrapped for a couple more weeks. It is what it is.
Hey, all the best, man, and all the best to your son too next weekend. Let's bring home a W.
Good luck with everything, buddy.
All right, sounds good.
All right,
see
man.
You, dude.
Thank you.
Later.
The Cam and Strick podcast is brought to you by Bellman and Bellman.com. BEHLMANN.com. Get out there to Detroit, Missouri. Check it out. On one side, you got the Buick, the GMC. Options for everybody. Then right across the street, you got the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Again, find something that works for you and get yourself a new set of wheels in time for the winter. All right, that was J.S. Giguère here on the Cam and Strick podcast presented by Hair Club. Great to catch up with him, Cam. He was very good. He was aggressive in front of the net, too. He probably would have cross-checked you in the face if you would have gone near him a couple times.
Probably. But he's a sweetheart, man. You can always tell. I always evaluate, people's personality because I feel like I try to be as easy to talk to as possible. Like, people forever. Like, even a fan, you talk to him like you've known him for 18 years, and people love that. And he kind of felt that. I just felt comfortable with him, like he was nice. You could tell he's a good guy. He fucking drives a boat, does his shit. I'm like, look, he's got two shit kicking, but one like kind of 23 foot's not that big, but he's got a 50 foot.
No, yeah, exactly.
He's got that 50 foot. Andy, I'm talking. You don't interrupt me, especially when I'm talking about shit you don't know.
Well, I wanted to get into the boat.
I know. I'm just saying, but that was cool, and he answered every question. He just was cool, man. I don't know. That's what I love about this podcast. You get all these guys on. And you might think, Jessica, maybe, I don't know, he's probably just like, he was just a sweetheart, dude. I love that guy.
Are you familiar with Bitcoin?
God, yeah.
Okay, so there's this dude, who played in the NHL for the former first-round pick. Played for Toronto.
Yeah, he retired.
He's like this big,
he's probably making more money. He's probably making more.
Yeah.
Okay, if we haven't heard of him,
I may bring him on to talk about it, actually.
Let's see if he does something cool with it first. But because you retired to do something, that means that you weren't that good to begin with. If we never heard his fucking name, he ain't that good. Maybe he's the first round. I don't give a shit. But he's probably really smart, and he probably knew some people or something, and he got in at the right time with different things going on. Like, maybe that's going to blow up. And, that waves bye-bye to me a long time ago. I don't know enough about it. I live a simple life with that. I got people protecting shit with whatever. We get to do cool things. But he's probably making more money, dude.
His name is Peter Holland. You know Peter Holland?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Well,
I know Kenny Holland. We had him on a podcast.
Can you break down Bitcoin for us? I'm hoping
I
can break it down.
Andy, no, I can't. All that shit, it waves bye-bye to me, and I admit that. I don't need to do that kind of stuff.
Is it too late to buy some Bitcoin?
I don't know.
Still make money off this.
I don't know.
He tweeted something out the other day about what Austin Matthews would truly be making if he would have invested.
He's living in Canada. Look, you don't know. Is it stable? I don't know. Don't ask me for advice on that shit. I just don't know. I have smart people taking care of shit.
I know the reality is, there's a lot of guys, Chris Pronger's pointing it out to a lot of people right now, to the fans. I think it's good information, whatever. You see how much money that you actually lose in your paychecks, whether it's just taxes, escrow, agent fees. I get that. But,
go ahead,
my take on this, though, if you make $35 million in your career or even $20 million in your career, you should be okay. And if you're not, there's nothing that prevents you from having to get a real job after your career. It is what it is.
You got to
you can still go work. You know what I mean? You're allowed to work. Last time I checked, if your $35 million, revenue that you generated from playing hockey, if you're not good after that because you had to pay all your money in taxes, whatever, well, then guess what? You're allowed to go work.
No doubt. And you know what? You're completely right on that. And here's the story. You spent $35 million. Go monetize that. You got a fucking story now. Now, here's what I want Prongs to do. It's keep breaking that stuff down. It's interesting. I think some people might be.
He's very smart.
So smart. And he's frugal. He knows money. Okay, let's be honest here. And he's a business kind of guy. But, he blew his fucking Twitter up, for one. But for two, here's what I want to know. Tell people what to do with your goddamn money. And a lot of people do that. But, give little tidbits of stuff like what to do now with it. Or if doesn't it need to be the guys making $35 million because it's always you're just a niche audience. Talk about what you should do with it. Give more advice, not just from the player's perspective, just from that, but like tie other things into it because he's fucking smart and I want to hear what he has to say. I want to read it. I sit down before my radio show. I get there at 6. I got an hour. I just sometimes read shit. Like you just read all kinds of shit. Like he says, I want to let us know other things. Like what else you got?
Yeah.
I know how I spent my money. Like I get that. And I know I'm in a different island, but no one can relate to that unless you're making that coin. So tell other people things that what to do.
Well, we've had some people on here who can relate to it, whether it's Kevin Stevens or Sheldon Souray or Brent
Those guys
Myers.
are on an island. Yeah, we
yeah.
Oh, well, from spending money. No, I get that. Or but he's not. What is he just tweeting to the guys on the NHL? Like, why do that? How about he's tweeting to the fans? So relate to the fans more and say, here's a thing when you're making $60,000 a year, what you should do. Here's a thing when you're making $200,000 or whatever, right? Yeah,
right.
Or whatever, a business. Somebody don't get taxed on this. Do that, blah blah blah.
Because I get it from the standpoint that, like, listen, a doctor who's making $400,000 a year, man. I mean, their lifespan of being able to bring in that revenue is far greater than a professional athlete who only has, the duration of their professional career to be able to bring in that type of revenue. But still, if you're making $35 million, you got to have something left over to be able to.
Yeah, you can spend it too. You can spend it too.
You can.
Yep.
You can.
Of course you can.
And listen, as Chris pointed out, and it's been well documented, I mean, there's been athletes in all sports, man, who have blown through $100 million. Okay.
Yeah, Mike Tyson. Like, how about your parents? How about you helping your parents too much in there?
Antoine Walker, man. These people, like a lot of these athletes, man, they've got payrolls, dude, more than like a small business.
Andy, there's more people than you think, homie. We talk about spending money. But there's a shit ton of people that you see, I'm looking at you on an everyday basis that you think have fucking money and they fucking don't have as much as you think. I'm telling you that right now. Like everybody goes through this kind of shit. So it's like not everybody you see really, you think they made all that money. Like a lot of times, man, they don't do right with it. I'm telling you. And you don't know it because they don't want to tell anybody because that's part of their persona. Mine's not. I was just like, fuck, here's my fucking jam.
Hey,
like
Cam,
whatever.
Remember when we had Michael Pekka on and his financial advisor, the guy that he trusted with his money, was stealing his shit?
Oh, goddamn right, man.
Dude.
People rip you off so fucking
See,
bad.
I want to hear from those people too, man. I think those people who can talk about those type of stories, or somebody who blew through all their money, whatever, and all of a sudden they're living on the streets or whatever. I mean,
Well, it doesn't even have to get to that point. It's more like you just have to like start from scratch.
I'm just saying,
or your wife divorces you, and you have to like now you're normal. Now you're the guy that kind of you're not in the spotlight anymore. People forgot about you. Now you don't have any coin. You're living in a blue collar part of town, and you got to regroup. And that's what you not the guy. There's only a handful of guys living on the street, but there's a lot of guys that are paycheck to paycheck, and they're just kind of hidden because they just have to do their thing now. And so like you just got to kind of relate to anybody. I'm telling you, man, it just people rip you off too. I remember getting ripped off, and I didn't want controversy, and I just would kind of not ripped off, but just like you just know, fuck it, I can't tell you because it just you're cool that way. But then I put my foot down. I put my foot down one time, and I had to stick up for myself a couple of times because I won't always be a nice guy until I see it fucking right in my goddamn face, and I had to put my foot down a couple of times. Then I got okay, enough's enough with that shit. And then when Kate came along, now she's the bad, and her fucking mom. I got people, and I got a guy. So you just know, Kate will call anybody and be like, no, wait on that, without being like rude or like fruit. I'm not cheap.
Well, who took advantage of you? Like, what was going on with your
dude? I was
stealing money from you.
I was living in a house when I was 19 years old. I was making a little bit. Then I was 21, making $50,000 a month, and I'm doing things, and I'd have people set stuff up in my house and buy this and do that, blah blah blah, and they'd be like, oh, it's 50 good, okay, and then, have your buddies do something else. A guy that not your buddy, but a guy help him out, and he does stuff and he fucks it up, and you're like, motherfucker. It's just that, and then finally I'm like, fuck everything. Nope. Get that. No. What are we doing here? No, let me look at that real quick. Not being, but let me check that. Okay, so what about this? Like instead I just like, okay. So anyway, people just
you hear about these stories, man, in other sports. These guys who grew up with no money and all of a sudden they're just handed millions and millions of dollars at a very young age, dude. I mean, that is, and you got everybody coming out of the woodwork wanting money.
Dipshit buddies.
Everybody.
You're fucking Girl, you then you start banging girls, man.
You get a lot of hockey players who grew up with money, who then transition into making money too. And they've got smart people around them who are helping them with their money and
those
their
East Coast boys. Or you get the cats from Russia that come over and meet the first girl, and she's a fucking weirdo, and you marry her, and now you're.
I find a lot of the Russian players, Cam, they bring their own girls over.
But I've seen that. I've seen guys come over from Eastern Europe and meet they grew up just like in a different, and all of a sudden you're making money and you have to keep up with your other buddies that are making probably more money than you, and you're dressed nice and you buy the nicest car, but you're not. We know what you're making. It's like, why do you have a nicer car than a guy that's making $6 million bucks? Then they meet a girl and they marry her. Then you hate her because I don't know. It's not just Russians; it's everybody. No. I've seen fucking good old Canadian.
Why you got to single out the Russians?
Because the Russians sometimes have to keep up with other Russians, and they like to spend money.
Hey, before we get out,
I know Barbie.
Before we get out of here, before we get out of here, I want to give a shout out to Ryan Getzlaff, giving him a shout out. Yeah, congratulations on a long career. We had him on the pod. Remember, he didn't know how long he was like, what? I got to stay on for how long? He thought it was a 15-minute interview. He stayed. He gave us almost an hour, man. He was great too, and he had a great career. And he got another assist last night. Listen, you cannot. Those type of ceremonies are truly special when the player has earned it and deserves it. I mean, sometimes with the send-offs and some of these that these players get, not everybody is truly worthy of it. But for him to be the face of that franchise as long as he was, man, and it's great of a player as he was. Yeah.
He's cool. He's tough.
He's everything.
He's just like everything cool. I can't believe he went that late in the first round.
Yeah, he went that late. Yeah,
he went 17th.
Yeah, he went late, 19th, whatever it was.
19th. Yeah. Damn. Imagine that. He's 6'4". He's center. He's tough.
I don't know what it was, so I don't. You're asking me on top. I don't have it. I should know that, but he is tough. And and he grew up too, man. After coming in at a young age and having success and whatever. But he and Corey Perry, man, there wasn't a better twosome in the league.
Two bad boys, yep, fun.
And a more famous twosome in the NHL either, man. You didn't say Perry without saying Getzlaff and vice versa for a long time.
And they liked each other too, and they got along. And
yeah.
Corey Perry's been a warrior since the London days. Playing against him, man, he was always in the mix. Just to be able to get guys like that, you're like, we got something. They could have won a couple more cups, probably, but
I know they're good dudes too, man. Teemu Selanne comes out in that Doom buggy.
He's cool as shit. So everything's cool, man. Yep.
But J.S. Giguère, man, he's cool too. Congratulations on a great career. Some people are calling for his jersey to be retired over there in Anaheim. I know he's not probably. I don't know. He won a Conn Smythe and a Stanley Cup, and he holds all the records.
Yeah,
career records for goaltending. Even though John Gibson, maybe he'll catch him. I don't know, but something to think about. They don't have that long a history, right? You got to honor the great ones for sure. So, all right, that was J.S. Giguère here. Who's that?
Corey Perry might be next.
Oh yeah, 100%. Have his jersey retired. But when you don't play your last game in that uniform, you don't get that type of send off that a guy like Getzlaff did.
And it takes a little longer for things.
That's why somebody sent me a text yesterday being like, "Man, that's why a guy like Alex Pietrangelo, who had that option to stay in St. Louis, he could have had that type of legacy that he leaves behind."
Andy, we always said that. Why? Sometimes when you are the motherfuck man, don't ever leave. Like Vladdy could be the guy too.
Mm-hmm.
Vladdy could go.
I look at Stamkos, who stayed in Tampa, right?
Oh, yeah. Look at him now. Come on. Took a little while. Damn, dude. Yeah, dude. Think about that. Don't go chasing sometimes. Was it Chasing Waterfalls by TLC?
He already won his cup anyway.
I'm just saying, he's in a different spot. I get it. And sometimes you got to, I don't know, man. Sometimes it's not better to leave, dude.
No, but I get it. He's not the first one to do it, man. And it is business.
Vegas is, with Petro, Vegas is kind of unique, cool and shit.
It is. But I don't know. On the outside, they got that big showdown tonight with with Dallas, on Tuesday night. So we'll see who comes out on top on that one. All right, this has been the Cam and Strick podcast. We're doing this during the evening, so people who know, we normally don't. Normally it's late morning, we're full on energy and whatever. Even though we had some good energy today.
Is that all right? Did I not have it because you couldn't?
Oh no, it was good. It's just dark outside. It's weird. So it's time to get out of here is what I'm trying to say. I got to go. My kids were quiet the entire time. I wasn't sure if they would be. By the way, I'm signing them up for golf camp at St. Albans, dude.
Oh,
and
please.
So I'm just dropping him off. He's coming. You got to pick him up every day, like from camp. Oh yeah, you got to pick him up.
I got responsibilities with a child.
And
then, sure?
And then I'm gonna come out there and pick him up from your house. You got to pick him up every day, like Monday through Friday.
I'll go up there, dude. I'll go up there with my buddies, and we'll have. He'll be wheeling around that fucking place. Oh, dude, he'll be sniffing around with us. yeah, bring him up here.
All right, Hair Club and hairclub.com as always brings us the Cam and Strick podcast. Again, 800-279-7878. Restore, replace, regrow your hair. Over 1,200 locations throughout the North America, throughout the continent.
Yeah, man. Don't let it go long.
You're not going to miss one. No, come on. Go ahead and take care of yourself. Incredible customer service. They will treat you like royalty. They're very sensitive. Right, Cam? They understand your situation, what you're dealing with. So
yeah, look, you just got to get it done, dudes. Yeah, just get it done. It's gonna go out. It's gonna be more and more fucking hair falling out, and you're gonna be like, oh god, now you're in like you look like
don't want that.
Just get it done while you can. Getting it going. It's gonna be, it's like one of the things that you just have to do to look better. Like it just, I'm telling you'll look better with hair. I don't get. Oh, what about Jason Statham? Get on with yourself. If he had sick body looking. Jason Statham, he's like a tough guy in the movies,
Oh. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying, what about Jason Statham? Like, who's saying that?
I don't know. Maybe somebody did. But my point is...
That's the name that comes to your mind.
Yeah, he's a stud, but he's bald. And it's like, well, you're not him, homie. Okay? Look at yourself.
I hear what you're saying now. I get it. That makes sense. All right, 800-279-7878. For Hair Club and hairclub.com, go to hairclub.com/Cam and Strick. That's our landing page. And schedule your consultation from there. You're going to save hundreds and hundreds of dollars because that's what we do. Car Shield, they'll save you money as well when you use that promo code CAM. That'll save you some money. Get yourself the protection. Get it today. You never know when something's going to go down in your car. And you don't want to be stuck on the side of the road wondering, how am I going to pay for this? Like, what am I going to do? Well, when you have that Car Shield peace of mind, then you're taken care of. Plus, you get to pick where you have it serviced, who the mechanic is, all of that. They hook you up with a rental car. Too good to be true. Car Shield, carshield.com, 800-857-2481. All right, loosey-goosey, Cam. I want to see that loosey-goosey.
It's right here.
And okay, there you go.
I need more.
I keep it in my back pocket.
I don't want you to keep any of it. You're wasting it. Give it to me. God.
But just the chew, I was like,
I know what it is. Give it to me. Because you just sit there, and Ty's gonna be like, "What's this? Give it to me."
They're like, "Are you chewing?" I'm like, "No, it's my Lucy, my Lucy Goosey."
I smoke cigars like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, it's been making me sick. Well, I'm getting like a head rush.
If it makes me sick, it's gonna make you sick.
Anyway, so check that out, Lucy.co. All the different flavors now in Canada, by the way. You can order that gum, that Lucy Goosey gum. So be sure to check that out. Lucy.co. Use that promo code Cam and Strick. Do it today. Bellman.com. All the cars, the Buick, the GMC, the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, all in Troy, Missouri. Check out their website. They want to buy your car. So get there. Everybody qualifies, Cam. So if you have bad credit, don't even worry about that.
Everybody qualifies. Hey, man, sometimes you're late on shit, man. I'm telling you. Ain't that big of a deal. More people go through it than anything. Just trust me on that. These people that you're like, oh my God, they have I'm telling you, they'll have bad credit. Something, it's not all perfect.
No, I agree with that. And of course, the Better Business Bureau, man. We love the support we get from the Better Business Bureau. BBB.org, Cam. Say hi to Natasha and Chris.
Hi. What's up? I'm sunburned, by the way. Big time.
Hey, get all the information you need. Hey, listen, this is one thing we don't talk enough about, but charities out there. If you're donating money to charities, they got reviews on all the charities too. So you know if you're putting your good hard-earned money into bad money or good money. You make sure you know where you're putting that money there with the Better Business Bureau, BBB.org. They've been around for over 100 years. And you want to make sure, man, you're using the best judgment when you're spending your money. Hotels, cars, everything. Be sure to check that out. Restaurants, obviously.
The
Better Business Bureau.
All that.
All right, this has been the Cam and Strick podcast. Of course, camandstrick.com. That's our website. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Follow our personal accounts too as well. And send
I
those
got 2 different
messages,
Facebook
man.
accounts. I got Twitter. I got Instagram. Andy's got Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just follow us. Type a name in, you'll see it.
And cameo me too as well. I'd love to send your mom a cameo for Mother's Day.
I did one in
Cabo.
In Cabo.
For who? What was the backstory?
A girl for her soon-to-be husband.
Oh,
like,
nice.
What's up? Like he plays.
It's called like a fiance, you know?
Yeah. Okay, whatever. But they're getting married and stuff, and they're big fans. And they he plays hockey, men's league, but he takes it too seriously. And she's like, "Beat his fucking ass." I'm like, "Okay, okie dokie."
There you
so
go.
It was funny. You know how I do it.
All right. Looking forward to that. Follow us and give us that 5-star rating, man. Drop us a comment too.
Yeah.
Instagrams. My DMs are open.
So are mine, by the way.
So
if you have any questions about anything,
all the time, if you want to hit me up,
I still got told people like they pop up randomly on Instagram's really weird with it. But you just if you do that, any question, man, I'll get back to you. Unless it's like, what do you think Toronto about? And I don't know. Just listen to shit. But if it's like, hey, what do you think of that? I had this problem or something. I'm like, fuck yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Here's my opinion.
Oh yeah. Well, if you want like relationship advice, you know,
hey man, I did pretty good.
Out. That wasn't bad. Hey, real quick, Toronto or Tampa Bay, who wins that 7-game series?
Tampa, I think. But
they got the home ice. You just never know. At some point, they're going to break through.
I think you're right.
It's going to be.
I think certain teams will, but certain teams obviously won't. So
I told you I'm on the Mitchie Marner bandwagon, and I may buy Ty a Mitchie Marner like jersey shirt, T-shirt.
He's cool.
You know,
yeah,
he's cool, man. I like the way he gets around the ice, dude.
Yeah,
he's like got some
little guy.
swag. You know?
He got whacked by Coachy.
Yeah,
Skate,
but like do it in the playoffs now, Mitchie Marner. Let's go,
Andy. Of course.
You know, same with you, McDavid, Draisaitl, Matthews, all
Goddamn
these dudes.
right. Fucking A.
What you got in the postseason? That's what I want to see. Where you at?
We've seen everything else. What else we got here? If you want to be the best of the best.
Where you at? Evander Kane, by the way, Cam, he's kind of tearing it up.
21 goals in 40 games. Yeah, okay.
He scores goals. I'll say that.
Man. Him and McDavid. I mean, yeah, he's doing well. Good for him.
Is that his new girlfriend?
I think his girl's a fucking psycho too.
No, is that a new one or is that
no? But his ex chick, I follow her on Instagram now because all she does is call people out and I'm like, I don't like you. I'm like, okay, she's fucked up too. Who knows with that situation? I know I beaked him hard. He is probably a fucking dick and a kind of like a me guy. Like it kind of seems that way. But the ex-wife thing, I don't know. She seems like a psycho.
I kind of take him on my team though.
I know if you can control if he's not the Debbie Downer in the locker room like I talked about earlier. You think I'm joking with that? I'm not, dude.
I don't, and I think it's a great point by somebody who's been in the room, dude. You know,
be a superstar and be a Debbie Downer.
Come in,
yep,
yeah. You don't raise the level of energy. You bring it down.
It's all you're out there. You do things, but you're still
the same goes for your work environment, whatever. Anybody who comes in and all of a sudden they're just like droopy. Like, no, you don't want to be around. You want people that are going to make you feel good about yourself, elevate your performance and whatever you're trying to do.
You want people that feel good about making other people feel good. It's always it's still always a selfish thing in the end. But it's the right kind of selfishness you need. You want people, if you make people happy and it makes you happy and you love being happy, that's good. Like that's what you want. That's the kind of people you want to be around.
All right. Great advice, Cam. All right. This has been the Cam and Strick. Hey, really good advice, actually. We'll end on that. This has been the Cam and Strick podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks, y'all.